it's me. I'm here, and it's time for more interactive entertainment. Oh, four. Hope y'all are doing well. I'm doing pretty good, pretty good. I before I get started, I have to admit something, folks. I did it again. I bought a drink that looks quite bad. So, yeah, I'm sorry. Listen, listen, I want you to look at this and you're going to be like, oh, this doesn't look that bad. But then I'm going to tell you what it looks like in real life. So here's what I grabbed. It's the kombucha paranormal potion. Now you might think, oh, that's cute. It's blue. Oh, how cute. It's not blue. In my hands, it is a putrid, swampy green. It is a green-esque, very swampy looking kombucha. It looks like swamp. It just straight up looks like swamp. So I am going to have a sip. All right, let's open this. Get some ASMR. I don't know if it'll pick up any of these noises. Okay. All right, bottoms up. Okay. It's definitely pear. And it's kind of spicy. Like it's got a it it's got a spice aftertaste. What? What is this? No, I'm checking the ingredients. What did you Okay, ingredients. Okay. Black tea, green tea, sugar, pear concentrate, ginger concentrate. That's the taste. Okay. Okay, it's ginger. It's ginger. That's the pear and ginger. What the fuck? I it works, I guess. I will say it is green, but not quite putrid. So this bleak drink actually passes the test. It's not bad. It just see the thing is they get the blue color from blue spirulina, which looks like spirulina is just whatever mold swamp whatever. The spirulina makes sense why it looks all swampy. Okay, this is this is bizarre and strange, but okay, yeah, you also have a lot of swampy green blue teas. Okay. Yeah. That was pretty, you know what? I like ginger kombucha, so unfortunately, I have to say this bad drink is green and not putrid. So, hey, that's better than what I was expecting. It really is. But you don't want to see me drinking swamp gas. You want to see me play interactive entertainment. Oh, four, folks, it's Interactive Entertainment Issue 4. We're in August 2000, not 2004, 1994, and our pals have just entered the realm of CES. So, if you want to see what your old pal, I don't know what any of these people's names are. I should actually look that up. Want to know what they think about the CES of 1994? Check it out here. What's up? Actually, down here. Hey, Xena. Yeah, Xena's back. I like Xena.
Welcome to episode 4 of Interactive Entertainment. In this episode, IE travels to Chicago for the 1994 Summer Consumer Electronics Show for a look at what's new, what's hot, and what's not. Experience CES coverage like you've never seen or heard it before.
All right, let's go to the Chicago Hilton Towers, baby. Da, 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 da. Yeah, we don't need that. We need to see the summer CES report, which we are slogging through. We did Domark. I'm pretty sure we did Legend. Oh my God. Did we do any of these? I think we didn't intend. I want to say we did this. The next page. Fuck it. Let's see LucasArts, and if it's the same, we'll just skip. Okay, I want to say I went through the. Yeah, I did this. I remember that. Did I do? Yeah, we did this one. Okay, cool. Okay, so it's the next page. All right, next we are at Nova Logic, Armored Fist.
NovaLogic had a small but good-looking booth in the far left corner of the CES. Their main event was Armored Fist, a tank sim that's been in the works for quite some time. There have never been a lot of tank simulations available, and M1 Tank Platoon, considered by many the definitive tank game on the PC, is several years old. Novalogic hopes to unseat Microprose as king of the tank sim mountain with Armored Fist. With 4 tanks
When you hear him roar, you better get here on the double.
Thank you so much, first of all, to Synthetic Rabbit for the sub. Thank you. And thank you to Shaxpert earlier for the 4-month sub. I'm strictly a sedentary load. Yeah, we were looking at the Texas Department of Transportation's mobile load simulator in the pre-show. Thank you both for the subs. I really appreciate it. All right, that was Novologic's Armored Fist. Looks not my style, but you know what? Good for them. Ocean. Oh my God, look at... Y'all, look at all of this. Let's go.
If you've ever had the desire to be Uncle Fester, Adam's Family Values from Ocean will probably be your only chance. As Uncle Fester, you need to find baby Pubert as he's been abducted by his old nanny, Debbie Jelinski. To retrieve Pubert, you must sign over part of the estate or find him yourself. Adam's Family Values is a one-player adventure game that will be released for both Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo in the third quarter of this year. Be on the lookout, because baby Pubert has been kidnapped.
I will be on the lookout. Central Intelligence. Did Central Intelligence ever come out?
If you've ever had the desire to be at the highest level of government intelligence,
Bingo!
Central
Pasta with
Intelligence
all sorts
could
of
be your
different
only
sauces.
hope. Your main mission in this PC CD-ROM title is to depose the fascist dictator of San Madrigal. Interact with over 1,300 characters in your high-priority mission, and of course you will be aided by the top-ranked specialists.
Y'all are an onliner to me. All right, Eek the Cat.
Based on the Fox television series, Eek the Cat continues his crazy ways through even weirder scenarios. For example, deliver a Christmas present that was thrown from Santa's sleigh during a head-on
running a little
crash
long
with a
product.
Boeing
We are running.
747.
See?
And that, folks, is just the tip of the iceberg. Brain-teasing puzzles found through 6 wacky levels are just the type of fun things that Eek digs.
I need a emote. I need to make an emote where you can redeem me drinking the horrible potassium product. I actually am working on it. I just need to be able to animate it. Let's see the Flintstones. Do you think this is based on the movie? I bet it is.
Based on the summertime
Yeah,
blockbuster,
look at
the
this.
Flintstones will feature digitized movie characters to give the game that movie look. Even if you're not aware that John Goodman played Fred in the movie, it is clearly recognizable that he was digitized for the video game version of Fred. Being released for both the Sega Genesis and the Super Nintendo, the Flintstones should be available in the fourth quarter of this year. The save game feature for the Flintstones is a unique idea which requires you to turn cylinders that have the words on them to form a sentence regarding the game. Not only is that a neat idea, but there's a good chance that you may actually remember the password as well. The Flintstones looks like it will be enjoyable for all.
Wrong. It is not enjoyable for all. Inferno.
From Ocean in the fourth quarter of this year, we will witness the arrival of Inferno. This sci-fi flight sim space adventure game has a storyline that is far from unique, but is none the worse for the wear. You play the greatest pilot known to mankind, and the human race faces extinction at the hands of the evil Rexon Empire. Inferno lets you pilot your ship any place a ship can go, and you can do it at any point in the game, so your flight path is not limited. Your ship can even be guided inside
Yeah, I'd never heard
many
of this
buildings,
one.
albeit carefully. You can travel to and even on 7 planets and 3 moons, each with its own hemisphere shading and detailing. Inferno should make its presence felt when it's released on PC CD-ROM later this year.
Oh, that's Inferno. Iron Angel. Now, this one I've heard of.
In Iron Angel, the weight of the world is literally
You don't get
on
to
your
see it.
shoulders as the fate of the planet is in your hands. All in a day's work, right? Well, in this day's work, you pilot the most sophisticated aircraft in history. You must prevent total annihilation by flying across barren moonscapes to the silent Earth. And remember, the fate of the planet lies in your hands.
They should put it in someone else's hands. Jelly Boy.
Born from a vat of jelly
Ugh.
which is struck by lightning, Jelly Boy is a
Ugh.
walking, talking blob of jelly that is determined to find the missing
Ugh.
pieces of a lost puzzle. As Jelly Boy, you can morph into 27 different people to help you along your journey. Morph into objects such as a hammer, an umbrella, or a submarine. Jelly Boy is a 1 or 2 player game scheduled for release in the fourth quarter of '94.
And Jurassic Park 2.
The sequel to the hit Super Nintendo game Jurassic Park 2 returns you to the island as Dr. Grant to rescue coworkers and battle
Now, did this
carnivores
come
in a
out?
race against time. You must first deactivate the island's energy field and face 12 new creatures not seen in
Okay,
the
it
original
came out.
Jurassic Park. Be prepared to be scared all over again.
I will be prepared to be scared. Mighty Max.
Mighty Max, your Saturday morning
Oh,
cartoon
he looks
hero,
like
will
shit.
be making his way
Sorry.
to the Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo. Your job, find and rebuild the weapon that Skullmaster has dispersed through 50 cities around the globe. If you don't, the world will face certain doom. Isn't this about the third time this week? Mighty Max is a 1 or 2 player simultaneous game and is scheduled for release in the third quarter.
Guys, I have to tell you know that putrid drink? I've turned around from thinking it's okay to thinking it's really good. I love it. This is the best tasting swamp water I've had in my life. All right, The Shadow.
The Shadow for the Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo is based on the original 30s radio program and comic book character, as is this summer's movie. As the Shadow, you must clean up the streets of the city and prepare for the final showdown with the city's meanest and nastiest criminal, Shiwan Khan. Trouble for the City spans 8 hellish levels, and the Shadow can use all of his tricks to do his job. Tricks include throwing brainwaves, secret mental powers, and being a master of nearly all weapons. The Shadow should appear in the fourth quarter of this year.
Y'all, do you know who originally played The Shadow on the radio? Orson Welles. It's actually really cool. I recommend that all Orson Welles fans get into radio because there's a lot of really cool Orson Welles stuff. All right, The Untouchables.
Imagine being thrown into the streets of Chicago in the year 1929 when Al Capone and his gang rule the town. You must join the Untouchables in any of 5 assignments to prevent Scarface from destroying the Windy City. First-person, side-scrolling, and aerial perspectives in movie-like graphics make the Untouchables, untouchable.
All right, that's The Untouchables. What's next? Let's go back to the company list. All right, next up is Paramount. Cyberflix re-releases.
Paramount is in the process of releasing MPC versions of 2 games previously available only on the Mac. These are Lunicus, an interactive space adventure, and Jump Raven, an arcade-style action game that lets you help save the environment while flying around in a cool hovercraft and killing people.
I love those sort of things. Dust?
Of the Cyberflix games on display, Dust looked as though it might be the most interesting. Set in 1882, this game had good-looking graphics combined with an arcade feel to its gunfights. Dust will feature more than 30 interactive characters, shootouts with bad guys, high-stakes poker hands, and, of course, mystery and romance. The game was created with the Dream Factory, which Cyberflix is touting as a groundbreaking proprietary interactive technology. Dust will be available on the PC CD-ROM in 1995.
Should I play Dust? Dust, it looks interesting. Skullcrackers.
To get an idea of what Skullcracker is all about, consider this message on the sell sheet.
Okay.
Not for members of Congress or weak-willed weenies. Your mission in this game is to keep the undead in their place.
All right, Ted Cruz, you can't play this.
Enforcement Inc., you roam cemeteries, cathedrals, and shopping malls through a variety of different levels to wipe out ghouls and zombies. There should be enough guts and gore in Skullcracker to satisfy any horror game junkie. Look for it around, Halloween.
And last but not least, Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
Since Paramount produces all of the Star Trek movies and TV shows, the company was able to get 5 of the major actors from Deep Space Nine to provide the voices for the role-playing adventure based on it. Your job in this game is to get to the bottom of trouble at the space station. You choose one of 4 different characters to play, either a human, a Klingon, a Ferengi, or a Bajoran. Your choice will affect the storyline since the main characters in Deep Space Nine will react differently to each of the 4 races. Paramount says this will be the first in a series of Deep Space Nine adventures. To demonstrate just how successful this old sci-fi warhorse is, the company announced that it has the game rights to Star Trek Voyager, the successor to the Next Generation, which isn't even on the air yet.
Okay. That looked different than the Deep Space Nine game I played. The one that I played had like CGI characters and kind of looked like shit in comparison. All right, Psygnosis, what you got for us? Oh my gosh, you've got a lot. Let's go Discworld.
Discworld, based on the best-selling fantasy parody novels by Terry Pratchett, is a role-playing adventure game which will be released for PC on floppy and CD-ROM
the
this
jester
fall,
is mean.
followed by
I'm
the
being
Sega CD
crushed.
version in spring of 1995. You are free to travel through time and the many lands of Discworld that may aid you in the quest to rid the Twin Cities of Ankh-Morpork of evil dragons and their disruptive influence. Discworld looks brilliant graphically and features an interesting transparent interface that does away with an icon bar.
Yeah, fuck icon bars. I don't know how to pronounce this game. Let's see.
Please note that all of the screenshots from Ecstatica have been taken from an early beta version and texture maps have not been completed. Welcome to the dream world of Ecstatica, where you must battle the monsters and evil demons that haunt the mind of the young girl dreaming this nightmare. Using ellipsoid technology, Psygnosis has created a more realistic and less angular look than the polygon-generated 3D games of the past. Mixed into Ecstatica are
Fiddle-dee-dee!
puzzle solving,
The
fighting,
torture's
and
for
exploration as you
me!
seek to solve this young girl's nightmares. Ecstatica will be available for PC CD-ROM in the fall of this year, with the floppy version to follow in the winter of '95.
Looks great! For a buffoon to play! Heresy of the Wizard, I'm always harassing all the wizards. They are incorrigible people.
Hex, Heresy of the Wizard should be available concurrently with this episode of IE. In this role-playing adventure game, you must trek through labyrinthine dungeons while combining quick reflexes
I love how
with
square the
puzzle-solving
Minotaur
abilities.
is. Very
Gain
respectable.
oodles of magic items to aid you in your voyage to be the best that you can be.
The best that I could be. There's a jester at Lemmings 3 time.
Psygnosis has scheduled the release of yet another Lemmings title for the fall of this year. Under the working name of Lemmings 3, there's a good chance these little green-haired morons will find their way back into your home once again to inspire neglect for your job, spouse, and family. Lemmings has undergone a facelift that should add even more appeal to the already popular game.
That's such a
The
rude
actual
thing to
screen
say to
size of
these
the
little
Lemmings has been
creatures.
increased,
They're
so the little
they're
fellows have gotten
delightful.
slightly
They're not-
bigger. The
they're not
addition of
ignorant.
120 new adventures and more user-friendly icons have reduced the amount of time required to lead the little drones to their goal. If you're a fan of the previous Lemmings games, Lemmings 3 should be right up your alley.
You know what's right up my alley? A trash can. Time for Microcosm.
Microcosm from Psygnosis is slated to be ported to yet another platform, the 3DO, and it should be on its way soon.
Ooh,
Noted as an
the
interactive
3DO,
cinema
Trip
game,
Hawkins, come
Microcosm
over,
should
let's
be able to
play.
flex its graphic muscles on the 3DO system.
You can wear the jester
Corporate
hat
mogul
this
Tyron
time.
Corsby has a small problem. A deadly droid implanted inside his body. It's your job to find and terminate it. The only way to complete your operation is by making your way through Tyron's body via miniaturized vessel. Good luck, and aim well.
Misadventures of Flink. Is this? No, I'm thinking Flint the Time Detective. Very different, very anime.
Psygnosis,
Flink!
now in their 10th year of production, will be releasing The Misadventures of Flink this fall. Flink must make his way through 50 arcade adventure levels that cover 6 different lands. Detailed and beautiful backgrounds conceal many 3D monsters that jump right out of the screen at you. Flink can also cast several spells that can be pre-mixed and saved until their use is required.
Fiddle-dee-dink, I don't know if I've played Flink. I've played over 600 of those bastard games. All right, time for Nova Storm.
Flying to the Sega CD and PC CD-ROM from Psygnosis is Nova Storm, one of the most well-detailed shooters to come our way
Exactly,
in quite some
Misadventures
time.
of Twink.
The obvious implication of Silicon Graphics rendering and a CD-based game give Nova Storm the freedom to soar as high as it possibly can. The only remaining question is, can you pilot the experimental fighter Scavenger 4 with success and return freedom? Look
No.
for Nova Storm this fall.
If you put me in the cockpit of the Nova Storm vehicle, I would proceed to crash it right into the king's castle. I'm sick of that man. I quite am.
Flying to...
Wrong one. Hold on. Sorry. Apologies. Let's go back. Let's go back. Thank you, Xena.
Shadow of the Beast 2 is being
He's
ported
looking
to
at
the
me.
Sega CD.
No,
This unique
covering your
puzzle
face.
arcade
There.
game is accompanied by stunning graphics with several levels of parallax scrolling and an ethereal CD soundtrack. It should be available by the time you view this episode of IE.
I was picking his nose, but they changed the screen. Theater of Death. I would not like to star in the Theater of Death. Thank you.
Theater of Death is a PC action-based battle simulator with a bird's-eye view which also gives the gamer strategic control of up to 5 platoons at once and tactical control of several attack vehicles. Your job is to obliterate the enemy over the course of 50 different missions set on 4 separate battlefields. Look for Theater of Death any time now, but do so cautiously.
Listen, the Jester's privilege allows me to commit regicide. That's right? I assume. All right, Psygnosis, get out of here. Let's see who's next on QQP. Fiddle-dee-dee.
Plans are
Battles in
underway
time.
at QQP to come up with yet another entry in the war game market. The company is currently developing Battles in Time, a 2-tier strategy and tactics game that builds off the successful base provided by the company's Perfect General games. Like many QQP games, you begin by buying units. However, this game departs from the norm when it allows you to purchase additional units at the start of each of your turns. Battles in Time also rewards the deceitful player, since you can trick your opponent by using camouflage
trickery.
units.
What about a Bridge Olympiad?
By the time you see this, QQP's
Oh, it's-
Bridge Olympiad will be available
I
in
was
your
hoping
local
it was
software
based on
stores.
perhaps
this
a real
card-playing
bridge.
game features a flexible design that should appeal to bridge novices and experts alike. For the beginner, the game has an online help function that provides expert advice. The veteran bridge player can play regular rubber
It's
matches
cool,
or in a
Columbo.
duplicate bridge tournament. Bridge Olympiad features a wide variety of potential playing partners who have different strengths and weaknesses.
Perfect. Oh, Grandest Fleet.
QQP announced that it's nearly finished with the CD-ROM version of the Grandest Fleet at the summer CES in
Fiddledy
Chicago.
feet. It's the
Assuming
Grandest
that no
Fleet.
last-minute problems crop up with the design, the new version of the game should be available by the time you view this episode of IE.
Ooh.
According to QQP's Steve Cohen, the first shipping of the Grandest Fleet was the company's largest ever, and that reorders began coming in within 2 to 3 days of its initial release. If this pace keeps up, Fleet could eclipse The Perfect General as QQP's best-selling game.
The Perfect General? Oh, who could that be? Well, we'll look at The Perfect General 2.
Work on Perfect General 2.
Oh my God,
QQP's
those
sequel to
hexes! It
Perfect
looks
General
like
is
we've been
proceeding as
invaded by
scheduled, with the war
bees.
game scheduled for a September release. Since the original is the company's best-selling game ever, there won't be many changes in the basic design. The graphics, sound, and artificial intelligence have all been updated, and PG2 will offer campaign play. Fans of QQP's style will be pleased to discover that the setup is the same. You choose your battle, then head to the hardware menu to spend your buy points on your equipment. The interface is simple. There are enough options built in to provide a challenge for the entire range of wargame players.
Okay. And last but not least, we've got Zigzag.
For the Keep It Simple Stupid segment of the PC game market, QQP is unveiling Zigzag in late August or early September. This old Hawaiian word game is extremely easy to learn, but is challenging to play, a combination that QQP hopes will lead to a wholesale addiction by the gaming public. The game requires that you solve 4 to 7 letter words or 4 to 7 digit numbers over a limited amount of turns, with
Oh.
9 levels of difficulty. In addition to regular play, Zigzag features 4 different quests that require you to solve a number of puzzles.
Yeah, it's gone Hawaiian. All right. Fiddle-dee guy, it's time to say bye. Hey, I'm back. What's up? All right, we are going back in the list to Sierra. Ooh, I'm excited. I want them to have like prototypes and never. Capital Punishment. Well, okay.
It seems that two fictional characters aren't enough of an outlet for funny guy Al Lowe. Now he's taking on some real-life
Hexagon
cartoon
Witch.
characters. Capital Punishment, Al's latest project, is a collection of arcade games
Did this
that
come out?
lampoons pretty much everyone currently holding national office. In one section titled Bill and Hillary's Whitewater
Never
Adventures,
released,
you
oh
must
my
guide
God.
the first couple down a river collecting cattle futures and avoiding those nasty IRS sharks. Of course, the game features 3 play modes: Democrat, Republican, and Independent.
Oh my God. That was freaking, what's his face? They had Ross Perot. Oh my God. I need to play that. That needs to be found. God. Yeah, it looked like, I love that. Oh my God. Ugh. Okay. Al said basically nothing fit together. That makes sense. I get it. It probably better to can it than make a bad game. Let's see what King's Quest 7 is.
Fans of family-oriented animated PC entertainment should flock to King's Quest VII: The Princeless Bride. The last installment in this best-selling adventure series will actually have you playing 2 different characters. Titles like Aladdin and The Lion King are being thrown around to describe the animation, and for once, the hype is well-deserved. The pieces I saw of the game are truly cinema quality and should attract the attention of many gamers who've never thought twice about the King's Quest series before.
Okay. Now, we know this one. It's Lode Runner, baby.
Before the name Dynamic succumbs to the big mountainous one, expect them to have a lasting impression with Lode Runner: The Legend Returns. As you may have inferred from the title, this game is an update of the classic game of arcade action and quick thinking strategy. Featuring 150 new levels and a level designer, The new version will have the same basic gameplay of the original title, but will add improved graphics and sound as well as new features and transporters and slime-covered floors.
Let's see. We've got Outpost Planet Pack.
At the show, Sierra officially announced that the first expansion disc for Outpost would be the Planet Pack. This add-on gives you new star systems to explore, more planets to colonize, additional natural disasters, and the economic interaction with the rebels that was absent from Outpost's original release.
Okay. And Phantasmagoria.
Sierra will take its turn on the Hollywood production multimedia hobby horse with Roberta Williams' new
My
game,
favorite hobby horse.
Phantasmagoria. This CD-only title will take a sharp left turn from the King's Quest and Laura Bow games, venturing into the realm of darkly horrifying adventure brought to life by live actors and SVGA graphics. If you were impressed with the graphics of The Seventh Guest but wish you were more than just a puzzle solver, seek out the evil when Phantasmagoria hits the shelves.
Yeah, if you like Seventh Guest, totally check out Phantasmagoria. Totally similar. All right, miscellaneous.
In addition to the new products being unveiled at the show, Sierra had several
Spew.
products in varying stages of development on display. Outpost was being duplicated during the show and is now in release.
Okay.
Alien Legacy should prove stiff competition to its much-hyped brother. Aces of the Deep looks to be a terrific war sim and has the most realistic waves I've ever seen in a game. Front Page Sports Baseball will, cover all the bases. Oh, providing a great game for the trashing stat freak as well as the casual fan.
That's me.
Last but not least, Earthseed should certainly satisfy anybody's craving to climb into an armored mobile skyscraper and make large holes in anything they see.
Bingo! Pasta with all sorts of different sauces.
That's my reaction when I think of Phantasmagoria. I'm spooked. Okay, next up, Simon & Schuster. I can't even say the name of this one. That's not fair.
Anyone who spent any time reading Shakespeare knows that if the Bard of Avon were alive now, he would probably be the head writer for a soap opera. After all, his classics are full of characters battling for power, ambition, and revenge. The same things we see in all the daytime TV. Based on this premise, Simon & Schuster Interactive has
Thank
come
you,
up with
Sofa
Macbeth
Sophia,
the
for the
game,
follow.
hoping
Appreciate
that once
that.
children get a look at Shakespeare, they might actually enjoy it.
Enjoy
In
some
this 3D
Shakespeare.
game, the player is a slave to Macbeth's famous witches. While performing various missions, your child will portray a wide range of characters as he or she moves through the actual setting of the play.
Has
The
this come
game
out?
ends when all the missions are successfully completed, and the odds are good that if your kids hang on that long, he or she won't run screaming into the night the next time Shakespeare is mentioned.
Okay, Magic Labyrinth of I Am.
If your kids think their teachers
Hey,
are
wait a
monsters,
minute,
they're
is this
more
I
than
Am
ready for the
Mean?
magic labyrinth of I Am Mean from
Yes!
Simon & Schuster Interactive.
Look
So
at this,
that
I Am
story time's
Mean.
fast. In this 3D CD game designed for children between the ages of 9 and 13, players must try to escape the evil labyrinth of I Am Mean, a librarian who is running amok.
Wow.
You need to work your way through 36 different levels.
Look at
as
this
you try to
prototype
escape the
art.
Mean maze. Each level consists of a scroll composed by Mean, which is full of grammatical errors that your child must correct. In order to ensure that your kids aren't aware that they might be learning something, there are also plenty of Mean's minions to blow away. So even kids with zero attention span should be engaged by I Am Mean.
That's so strange. Oh my gosh. It's so cool.
It's getting
And
hard to keep
technical
track of all the
manual.
different Star Treks, but one thing remains perfectly clear about the sci-fi series. It has a dedicated core of fans who are ready, willing, and able to spend their money. Simon & Schuster Interactive is going after the Star Trek The Next Generation market with an interactive technical manual created with the cooperation of the show's producers. This CD version of the book, which sold over 400,000 copies, features more than 10,000 interwoven photographs from the set of the Starship Enterprise. Through the use of QuickTime VR, a new virtual reality technology under development by Apple, the user can look at a photograph or rendered material in 360 degrees. Trek
Ooh.
fans can cruise through the Enterprise and take a 3D look at the show's sets, models, and props.
Okay. Got a lot of good stuff coming from Simon & Schuster. I can't believe that the Scottish Play game never came out. That's wild. All right, Surtech. All right, this Alliance, it's Jagged.
Its projected release date has been pushed back a few months, but Jagged Alliance, a new strategy role-playing simulation from Surtech, should be in stores before Christmas. In it, you must choose a team from dozens of unique mercenary characters to stage a raid on a tropical island and retrieve a rare plant needed in the concoction of a medicine which will save dying children. The game will be released on both CD-ROM with full digital speech and floppy with an optional speech pack. Gameplay is non-linear and combines real-time and phased combat. Ian Curry, one of the game's designers, said that the game was nearing alpha stage at the time of the show and that he expects it to be released in November.
Okay, what about Star Trail?
Realms of Arcania Star Trail, Surtech's sequel to Blade of Destiny, is proceeding smoothly toward an October release date. At the Summer CES in
look at those
Chicago,
eyes.
designer Guido Henkel said the fantasy role-playing game, which will be released in both CD-ROM and 3.5-inch disc versions, will be more user-friendly than its predecessor. According to Henkel, most of the complaints about Blade of Destiny centered around the fact that the game was oriented toward hardcore role players. With that in mind, Star Trail has been designed to make things easier for the novice by expanding the help function, providing more detailed help for the beginner who gets stuck playing the game.
All right, and Wizardry.
Seeing as how the Wizardry series, now 7 entries strong, was the first release from a fledgling Surtech in 1981, it's no surprise that the company is still attached to the fantasy game. To that end, Surtech announced at the Summer CES that it would be releasing the next Wizardry game in the spring of 1995. Australian designer Cleve Blackmore is in charge of the new project, which is expected to continue the standard elements of the Wizardry games. However, Blackmore promises that the interface will undergo massive changes, making it state-of-the-art for the 1990s.
All right, Surtech's got some good stuff planned. But what about ImageSoft? Oh yeah, show me.
ESPN's Baseball Tonight features digitized player animation and all 28 Major League Baseball teams. ESPN's Chris Berman calls the shots with pre- and post-game reports. ESPN Baseball will be available for the Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo, Sega CD, and IBM CD-ROM. The Sega CD version will include real players from the Major League. Also featured in Baseball Tonight are home run derbies and pitching radar. Full season play is still up in the air at this stage in development.
Oh, wow, the Star Trek CD-ROM was going to be on the Pippin? Oh, man. All right, time for the Hockey National.
ESPN National Hockey Night features the NHL and its players in a fast-paced arcade-type hockey game. In Hockey Night, you can play a full 84-game season and track statistics with the help of a battery backup. Also featured is the ability to change gameplay views at any time during play. When you switch between overhead, vertical to side view, every player is remapped and placed in the exact same positions as the previous view. ESPN National Hockey Night will be available on the Sega CD and Genesis, as well as the Super Nintendo.
And Speed World?
ESPN Speed World is a stock car racing game for the Sega CD, Genesis, and Super Nintendo. Its attention to detail is such that it even features drafting and slingshotting. Commentary is provided by ESPN's very own Jerry Punch. Unfortunately, ESPN Speed World does not have the NASCAR license, so no real drivers or cars will be seen in this racing kart, but you can race an entire season with a championship at stake.
All right, what about a Sunday Night NFL?
Take on the NFL in ESPN's Sunday Night NFL. 28 real teams that can play through a season, playoffs, and the Super Bowl. Sunday Night NFL offers a new end-zone-to-end-zone view that eliminates the passing window seen in all other football games.
Give me the passing
window. The new
window.
view really sets Sunday Night NFL apart from all other games because it keeps the gamer focused on the receiver and not a passing window. ESPN's Sunday Night NFL will be available for the Sega CD, which will have the real players, Super Nintendo, and Genesis.
All right, get the real player. Oh, man. Oh, man. Yeah, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Show me.
Mary Shelley's Frankenstein is taken from the movie hit of last fall with the same name. This action-adventure game will put the player into the role of Frankenstein's monster. As the creature, you explore 6 levels to learn the secret of your creation. Travel from Ingolstadt to the Arctic and everywhere in between. All of the game's characters were animated using rotoscope to provide extremely realistic motion. Frankenstein will be available for the Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo. Also, a version will be released for the Sega CD that will include 2 different gameplay engines with 3D modeling and background.
Okay. All right. We got Frankenstein, but what about Hang Time 95?
NBA Hang Time 95 for the Sega CD is actually 2 separate games in one. It
feather
has
of
real NBA
ImageSoft.
players and a selection of 27 NBA arenas where you can play 2-on-2 full court. In addition to the NBA arenas, there are 15 international outdoor courts where street games are held. NBA Hang Time 95 offers 1 to 4 players in either competitive or cooperative play in any combination in both basketball games.
And Jeopardy.
Welcome. Let's play Jeopardy!
Another Sega CD and IBM CD-ROM offering from Sony ImageSoft based on a game show is Jeopardy! It features digitized footage of Alex Trebek And a database of 5,000 answers should keep every Jeopardy enthusiast satisfied for a long time. Digitized graphics and sound make the gameplay just like the show that it was taken from.
Okay, Jeffrey, I'll contact you. Mickey Mania.
Probably the most exciting Mickey Mouse game to come down the old gaming chute in quite some time. Mickey Mania
old
from
gaming
Sony
chute.
ImageSoft pays tribute to Mickey's 65th
I just put my
birthday.
mouth over
Featured
the
in
end of
Mickey
the
Mania
gaming
are
chute, and
three
I'm like,
unique
fill
gameplay
me up!
engines, including side-scrolling and the innovative Coming At You 3D engine. Disney and Sony working together have produced a game that should not go overlooked as a simple kids game. All of our hearts and imaginations will be wrapped up in this game that includes Mickey cartoons from Steamboat Willie to The Prince and the Pauper. Mickey Mouse may be dubbed as a kid icon, but this game will have the potential to appeal to the child in all of us.
Okay, the child in all of us. Hey, Juan, welcome. What's next here? Oh boy, Wheel of Fortune. Did y'all see that Wheel of Fortune clip where everybody hit bankrupt in a row?
Will feature Vanna White in digitized form. Other real additions include theme music, backgrounds, and sound music. If you're saying to yourself, I will have solved all the puzzles within an hour, you're mistaken, because there are 6,000 to solve. Wheel of Fortune will be available for the Sega CD and IBM CD-ROM.
Okay. Well, we got Wheel of Fortune. We got that. What about Spectrum Holobyte?
If you've always longed to be a pilot but were never
No.
able to reach the sky, Spectrum Holobyte's Wild Blue Yonder might help ease the pain of that unfulfilled dream. This multimedia reference guide, which will be released in PC, Macintosh, and CD versions,
I
features
wonder
two
if that has
episodes,
homosexuality
50 years
in
of
it.
G's and Jets and the Golden Age. The narrative for both episodes was written by Walter J. Boyne, the former director of the National Air and Space Museum. There are interactive cockpits, mementos from the private collections of notable pilots, and historical combat and test flight footage.
Yeah, I may need to do like a third stream for this one because there's just so much content. Falcon Gold.
Thanks to the added space available on a CD, flight simulator fanatics won't have to worry about boredom for a while. Spectrum Holobyte has put together an impressive package in Falcon Gold, a CD collection which includes 5 different simulations and a separate training video. Falcon Gold allows for modem, direct connect, or network play. The simulations included in the collection are Falcon 3.0, Operation Fighting Tiger, Hornet, Naval Strike Fighter, MiG-29, and Art of the Kill. Fighter Air Combat Trainer is a digitized video based on real fighter pilot training.
Okay. Star Trek, The Next.
Star Trek The Next Generation may be off the air, but the program is far from forgotten. Spectrum Holobyte is capitalizing on that interest with a new PC CD-ROM game that will feature the voices of the show's 7 main characters, along with Majel Barrett, the computer voice on the show who is the widow of Star Trek creator Gene Roddenberry. This game, called A Final Unity, follows the release of Futures Past, released for the SNES earlier this year. Spectrum Holobyte is presently working on A World for All Seasons, a 3DO design which it plans to have in the stores sometime next year.
We're looking at CES previews on the Interactive Entertainment issue 4 CD-ROM.
Spectrum Holobyte is bringing the science fiction adventure Iron Helix to yet another format. Already available for the PC and Macintosh, the company said at the summer CES that it expects to have a Sega CD version ready for release in late August or early September. The basic format remains the same. The player must try to locate and disarm a biological weapon that will destroy the world in a 6-level spaceship. Designers say the transfer to Sega CD should result in better resolution and improved game speed.
All right, and last but not least, Breakthrough.
Given the flock of imitations that have sprung up from Tetris, Spectrum Holobyte decided to literally go right to the source for its new entry in the puzzle game market. They hired Alexei Pajitnov, the creator of Tetris, to design Breakthrough. While you start with nothing in Tetris, you begin with a wall of multicolored bricks in Breakthrough. You compete against the clock to break down the wall by clicking on matched groups of colored bricks. The game allows 1-player and 2-player modes, including head-to-head competition.
Okay. Next up, it's SSI with Alien Logic.
Role-playing fans looking for a change of pace and locale should be pleased with SSI's upcoming Alien Logic.
This is many of you.
Jorun. Billed as a new wave fantasy RPG, the story starts 3,500 years in the future, when Earth is but a myth, and humans and other forms of intelligence survive by utilizing the tools and technologies of other cultures from different times. You will interact with 7 different alien species, each with their own moods, personalities, and motives. Not to be repetitive, but we've got yet another new game with SVGA graphics here. Like the rest of SSI's upcoming titles, Alien Logic looks like a very interesting game with a lot of things going for it.
Okay, Dark Sun 2.
SSI will expand the Dark Sun universe they introduced
I'm
PC
Jarkus,
gamers
that's what
to
I'm
last
saying.
fall with the sequel Wake of the Ravager. The plot picks up from the ending of Shattered Lands and revolves around the political struggle in the city of Tyre, where the ruling Templars are powerless to enforce their edicts. The vast world of Dark Sun features 20 distinct regions, each with an environmental soundtrack keyed to the region's characteristics. The CD version of the game will feature extensive use of cinematics and digitized voice.
Okay, what about Cyclones?
Fans of blistering first-person action should keep
Oh,
their
look
eyes
at this
peeled for
pre-rendered shit.
Cyclones, a Doom-like shoot-'em-up with a high-tech tone. Earth is being overrun by alien invaders who have stolen human tissue samples to create cybernetic fighting machines perfectly adapted for Terran warfare. Earth's military have responded in kind, creating their own legion of Cyclones to fight for the planet. The game boasts a smooth scrolling first-person perspective, full-motion video and cinematics, and an intelligent targeting cursor that you control independently of your body motion.
I like that. I want to try that. How about Menzo Baranzan?
Running with the Ravenloft engine, Menzo Baranzan will be one of the last AD&D titles to squeak out SSI's door. It is a unique computer adventure in that it is the first game to involve the evil Drow Elves. You must explore the fantastic subterranean realm of the Underdark, find your way to the capital city of Menzo Baranzan, and rescue the hostages the Dark Elves have taken from your village. Considering how popular the Underdark is in pencil and paper games and AD&D novels, this title should be a welcome addition to any role player's library.
Okay, I'll play Menzo Baranzan, but what about Panzer General?
Continuing their acclaimed line of war games, SSI will be releasing Panzer General around October. In this, the first SSI war game to run in SVGA, you'll assume the role of a German general in 1939 Poland. With a touch of role-playing, you must lead your forces to victory to gain influence and prestige, which allows you to buy favors from other officers, such as getting your hands on hot new tanks before anyone else. The game will feature authentic World War II film footage as cutscenes between scenarios. Panzer General promises to be an easy-to-learn, yet highly involving game of military strategy, featuring over 35 scenarios ranging in length from 2 to 60 hours each.
And last but not least, we got Renegade.
Renegade, the battle for Jacob's Star,
Look at
is
this guy.
SSI's entry into the realm of space combat.
He reminds
You
me of
play
a
an
Code
angry,
Lyoko.
uncontrollable pilot with more than a little disdain for your superiors. Your insubordination gets you demoted to a backwater assignment at a remote supply station. But as luck would have it, a hostile alien force has its sights set on your station, and it's up to you to hold them off until reinforcements arrive. Following a developing trend at SSI, Renegade will sport SVGA graphics. It will also feature a dynamic plot that changes based on your difficulty level, successes, and failures.
All right, okay, that sounds good, Renegade. What else we got? What else we got? We got Sunsoft. Oh my god. Look at all of these. This is going to be so good. Okay, Acme Animation Factory.
If you've ever wanted to make your own Bugs Bunny cartoon, this is the game for you. Acme Animation Factory by Sunsoft includes an entire array of tools to help create an original animation. You can use existing backgrounds or draw your own, color your characters, and finally set it all into motion.
Okay, what about Aero the Acrobat 2?
The sequel to one of Sunsoft's biggest hits, Aero the Acrobat 2, is on the way. The search for the evil Edgar Ector continues, taking Aero to new heights using a magician's box. Another 16 meg cart, Aero the Acrobat 2 should be everything the original was, and more.
And the death and return of Superman.
The classic story
Look
of
at him.
good versus evil has finally been wrapped up into one game, The Death and Return of Superman by Sunsoft. This game takes the player through the various stages of Superman's life right up to the end. This 16 meg cart should be the best Superman game to date.
Okay, everybody, you heard that? Best Superman game to date. Everybody play it and buy it.
Finally, a fighting game with some real fighters. Justice League from Sunsoft will incorporate some of the best-known DC Comics characters, including Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, The Flash, Green Arrow, and more.
Oh, okay. I'm not going to ask about that screenshot. Anyways, Looney Tunes Basketball.
In the wake of NBA Jam, the cartridge market has been, jammed with 2-on-2 hoops games. Sunsoft is offering a new spin on this idea with Looney Tunes Hoop It Up. It's got the classic characters like Wile E. Coyote, Marvin the Martian, Bugs Bunny, the Taz, and even Elmer Fudd.
The
This one-on-one or
Taz!
2-on-2 basketball game looks like it'll be a blast.
The Taz! The Taz!
The smash hit for the PC will soon be available for your Sega CD. Mist by Sunsoft is a thoughtful interactive puzzle game. You must keep a journal of your findings
Anyone
and use
hear of
every
this
bit
game
of
before?
information to try and solve the challenging puzzles in order to free two brothers who have been trapped inside a pair of magic books.
All right, this Meist. Next, it's Porky Pig's Haunted Holiday, a game that all of our fans are familiar with. Oh, boy.
Courtesy of Sunsoft, Porky Pig finally
This
has
looks
his own
great.
game. It's a basic cartoon adventure game where Porky finds himself having awful dreams. It's your job to get him out of each one. Reminiscent of the old Warner Brothers cartoons, Porky Pig's Haunted Holiday should stir some old memories.
Okay, what about Scooby-Doo?
Some of the most famous sleuths in cartoon
I've
history
played this
are about
before.
to come to your home. Scooby-Doo by Sunsoft is an interactive mystery where you control Shaggy and Scooby with some help from Fred, Velma, and Daphne. Following the cartoon tradition, you'll have to unmask the bad guy when you solve each puzzle.
And what else we got more of? What you got for us? We got Speedy Gonzales.
First we had Mario, then we had Sonic. Now we've got a real speed demon, Speedy Gonzales, another cartoon character adventure by Sunsoft. As Speedy, your mission is to save all of the mice captured by an evil gang of cats. To keep up your strength, you must collect little cheeses along the way.
And Sylvester and Tweety, a classic.
One of the most popular cartoon characters of all time gets to try and catch the world's most hated bird. It's Sylvester and Tweety by Sunsoft. You play Sylvester in his
Do you
harebrained
think Tweety
attempts
is
to
the
peck
world's
and
most
eat his
hated
nemesis.
bird?
With 16 megs of animation and levels, Sylvester and Tweety will satisfy anyone who has always wanted to see the Tweety bird finally get ripped to shreds.
If you're a sicko who wants to see a bird die, play Sylvester and Tweety.
Zero, the kamikaze squirrel, is Sunsoft's latest hero in an action-adventure game. Zero must rescue his forest homeland from the evil Jacques Le Cheats. This 16-meg cart looks perfect for fans of Aero the Acrobat.
I'm going to go with no on that one. Okay, what about Taito? Ooh, Dragon's Lair.
If you've seen it once, you've seen it on every system.
True.
Now, thanks to Taito, Dragon's Lair is
Taito!
coming to the Sega Genesis. Even though the gameplay is not the same as the arcade, it still has the same basic plot. There are 32 stages to complete, and it's for 1 or 2 players.
Taito, you can't do that. All right, what's a Flintstone?
With this year's hit movie, The Flintstones, Tato's new game, The Flintstones, The Treasure of Sierra Madrock, comes just in time. You play either Fred or Barney in an adventure to find an elusive treasure so that you may become the Grand Poobah. The Flintstones has over 70 stages of adventure with the ability to play 2 players simultaneously.
And Jetsons.
The Jetsons' Invasion of the Planet Pirates by Taito is an action-adventure title based on, of course, the cartoon series. In the Jetsons, you play George Jetson, who must save the world from invading space pirates. There are 5 worlds and 20 stages of great animation and gameplay to keep you tuned in to your Super Nintendo.
All right, Lufia and the Fortress of Doom.
Lufia and the Fortress of Doom is about to be released for the Sega Genesis by Taito. This latest role-playing game...
Every time I hear
has been designed
Taito!
with the beginning to intermediate player in mind. With over 165
Thank you,
different
Rachel
monsters,
Retro, for the resub, and
225
thank you to
power
West
items,
Wyoming for gifting the
55
sub
spells,
to
and over
Rachel
70
Retro.
scenarios to
Appreciate
battle
that.
through,
And
Lufia
thank
and the
you.
Fortress
God,
of Doom should be
Taito.
attractive to players of all skill levels.
All right, we got the Taito here. We got mashed Taito, fried Taito, baked Taito. Anyways, Rainbow Islands.
Rainbow Islands by Taito is a game directed at small children.
No.
Somewhat reminiscent of Bubble Bubble, Rainbow Islands is a simple game with 6 islands to explore, each having 4 stages. Rainbow Islands makes up for its simplicity with engaging play for younger players.
I agree, Clip It, that Baby Huey is a much more despised bird. All right, Sonic Blast Man 2.
Sonic Blast Man 2 by Taito is the long-awaited sequel to the original hit Sonic Blast Man. With 2-player simultaneous action and 3 characters to choose from, Sonic Blast Man 2 may well turn out to be the sequel everyone's been waiting for.
And Super Soccer
With
Champ.
the World Cup coming to the United States, there has been an influx of soccer games. Super Soccer Champ 2 by Taito will be released soon. Though Soccer Champ 2 is not licensed by FIFA, it does have 24 international teams to choose from and can be played with 4 players at the same time using the Super Nintendo multi-tap.
Okay, looks like Sunsoft. Tato has a pretty good lineup here. What about Take-Two? You ever hear of these guys? What are they working on? Oh, well, let's go through it.
However repulsive the word edutainment may be to your tender ears, it's the best
not.
descriptor
I
for
love
Assault on
edutainment.
Everest. Some unidentified thing has crashed near the summit of the world's highest mountain, so it's time to send in one really strong guy to find out about it, right? In this case, played by traditional movie large person Dolph Lundgren. Don't go thinking you can just go out and rent Cliffhanger instead of playing this, though. There's a lot of strategy and puzzle solving, as well as lots of factual information about Everest itself. Assault on Everest will be available this fall for the PC CD-ROM.
I gotta try that one. I've never heard of it. But listen, we don't have a choice. Let's just take a look.
Bill Cosby's Picture Pages started out as a great educational television program and has now made the leap to interactivity, thanks to Take-Two's new division, Child's Play. Cosby's character Mortimer Ichabod is ever present to lead the player through games that teach logical and creative thinking, relationships and patterns of thought, and basic reading skills. Picture Pages is a CD-ROM designed for children ages 3 to 5 and will be available for the PC in October and for the Macintosh in November. With Cosby going interactive, maybe we can expect to hear from Fat Albert before too long.
We never did. Okay, Bureau 13.
The supernatural world stays well
Look at
hidden from most
this!
people, but not from the prying eyes of the members of Bureau 13.
I want to live in that
In
trailer.
this game, based on a successful pen and paper role-playing game, the player takes a team of paranormal investigators into a series of challenging and chilling cases. This interactive adventure has combat and puzzle aspects, and the solutions change based on the skills of the assembled team. The soundtrack is CD quality, complete with lyrics. Look for it in the fall.
Okay, it's got a vocal theme, so that's good. Hell, a cyberpunk thriller. Now, we know about this one.
Certainly the game with the largest budget of the Take-Two lineup is Hell, a cyberpunk thriller. How else could they have been able to hire talent like Dennis Hopper, Grace Jones, and supermodel Stephanie Seymour? The sinister plot puts the player on the run from the theocratic government who may actually control the gates to hell. Nicely rendered graphics, lots of celebrity action, and a storyline guaranteed to really tick off the moral majority. Who could ask for anything more? You can expect Hell to surface around October.
And Star Crusader.
Star Crusader puts the player in the middle of an interstellar war. It combines lots of arcade-style action with military strategy and a cinematic plot. As a Star Crusader, your mission is to expand the influence of the Green Empire, but you can play on either side and choose from 11 different ships and over 100 missions. The CD-ROM version will feature digitized speech and a cast of professional actors.
Okay, so Take-Two's got some good stuff coming. What about THQ? Oh, did this come out? Did the THQ Akira come out?
Akira by THQ is based on the incredibly popular Japanese animated film and comic books that may well be the definitive anime title. This 10-level adventure game has got an incredible combination of gameplay, with fighting, driving, first-person role-playing, side-scrolling action, and three-quarters view adventure. If you're a fan of the series, or if you just like good adventure games, Akira's the game for you.
All right, that didn't come out, huh? Okay. Bassmasters Classic.
If you're the type of fisherman who likes to catch fish but doesn't like to leave the comfort of your own home, THQ may have a solution. Bassmasters Classic is easily the best bass fishing simulator out there, with 5 different lakes to choose from and several different competitions to participate in.
Okay, and The Mask, which
Thanks to his
I know we've
recent
played.
hit Ace Ventura, Jim
I know
Carrey
we've
is one
ranked
of the
this
most
bad
popular
boy.
comedians around. With its awesome special effects, courtesy of Industrial Light and Magic, his next film, The Mask, based on the Dark Horse comic, may be the most eagerly anticipated release this summer. THQ is hoping this will make their licensed adventure game a big hit on the SNES and Genesis at the end of 1994. In this side-scrolling adventure game, you control Stanley Ipkiss, a mild-mannered bank clerk transformed by an ancient relic into The Mask, an indestructible and very strange superhero.
All right, and Ren and Stimpy Show.
Ren and Stimpy, stars of their own Nickelodeon TV series, are making their way back to the SNES this fall. The Ren and Stimpy Show Time Warp by THQ puts our oddball duo in hot water, leaving it up to you to get them out. When the two win a time machine from Muddy Mudskipper, they promptly get lost in time. Weird items and combination attacks highlight this off-the-wall adventure game.
And Sequest DSV, everyone's favorite.
Sequest by THQ is based on the popular NBC series of the same name. There are a total of 24 missions in all, and a choice of 7 different vehicles with which to complete each mission. Each vehicle has a special ability making it ideally suited for certain missions. You can take the plunge along with the crew of the Sequest on the SNES and Sega Genesis in the fourth quarter of '94.
Okay, and I know Sequest DSV did come out because I played that before. All right, it's time for Time Warner Battle Corps. Oh man, Bubba and Sticks. Oh man, Lawnmower. Okay, I'm getting too excited. Let's start from the beginning.
Battlecore for the Sega CD, created by Core Design for Time Warner Interactive, uses the same engine used for AH-3 Thunderstrike. As you can see, Battlecore is essentially a mech warrior game for the Sega CD. Battlecore has over 30 game objectives with 12 different weapons available to use. If you liked AH-3, you should definitely take a look at Battlecore.
And Bubba and Sticks, a classic.
Bubba and Sticks, a game created by Core Design incorporated for the Time Warner Interactive, is a simple adventure game with a simple plot. You play Bubba, a truck driver kidnapped by aliens. You must use a stick to keep your friends to escape this new alien
He's
world.
a truck driver?
The Stick's name, of course. Just
Thought he
happens
was
to be
just a
Sticks.
bumpkin.
How creative. Bubba and Sticks will include over 340 frames
What?
of animation.
I'm sorry. My entire life, I thought Bubba was a country bumpkin. I had no idea that he was a truck driver. Well, you learn something new every day, don't you, folks? All right, Commando Raid.
Commando Raid by Time Warner is a lot like the heavy metal of old. The graphics are fantastic, utilizing a new technology called Superspin to create a new form of gameplay. The Superspin technology allows the Genesis to manipulate 3D objects and textures in a 3D world at a whopping 30 frames per second.
And Dick Vitale's College Hoops.
They said it couldn't be done. They said it wouldn't work, but Time Warner Interactive has done it. Dick Vitale's Awesome Baby College Hoops for the Sega Genesis has a 3D rotating court. This College Hoops game will also include Dick Vitale's ultimate announcing voice.
And Flying Nightmares. It's awesome, baby.
Flying Nightmares is a Sega CD title created by Domark for Time Warner Interactive. Flying Nightmares is what you'd expect from a Domark title, a flight simulator. You are a squadron leader piloting Harrier jump jets into battle. With full motion cut sequences and a true flight sim engine, flight jockeys should love this new CD title.
And Generations Lost.
Generations Lost is an incredible action-adventure game. With graphics
Wait, what
somewhat
is it?
resembling those of Out of
Is
This
this-
World
did this
and
come out?
Flashback, Generations Lost could be the adventure game of the summer.
It could be the adventure game of the summer. Well, too bad. Generations Lost became lost.
Kawasaki Superbike Challenge is another Domark
Oh, it
game
did come out?
created
Okay.
for Time Warner Interactive. Kawasaki Challenge utilizes an improved version of the Formula One engine, has 15 circuits to choose from, and offers such intriguing features as night racing.
Night Racing. Oh, it was on Sega Channel. Okay. Well, how about Lawnmower Man?
Based on the movie, The Lawnmower Man is actually a melting pot of several different game styles. There's 3D driving, flying, puzzle, and side-scrolling action. You actually play either Dr. Angelo or Carla, pitted against Job, the newfound wonder genius.
Next up, we got Marco.
Marco was one of the cuter titles at CES. It's a simple side-scrolling action-adventure game with an entertaining twist. As Marco, you must defeat evil bad guys with the various tricks you can perform with your magic soccer ball. Juggle, headbutt, and bicycle kick your way through the levels.
No. Payne Stewart Pro Golf.
Payne Stewart Pro Golf is one of Time Warner Interactive's few sports titles for the Sega Genesis. It includes a unique 3D perspective with hills and valleys. Included with Payne Stewart Pro Golf are the options to practice putting, practice driving, stroke play, match play, a skins game, and even the ability to place a 3D camera anywhere on the course for instant replay.
Folks, it's time for the big boys. It's time for Rise of the Robots.
Rise of the Robots was developed by Mirage for Time Warner Interactive. This robotic fighting game includes up to 100 animations for each robot, and artificial intelligence that learns to defend itself better and better. With 6 distinctive robots to fight, this original fighting game should be a smash hit.
Okay, what about the Skeleton Crew with a K? Very cool.
Core Design's newest shooter
Oh,
game,
no
entitled
screenshot?
Skeleton Crew,
Boo.
is being published by Time Warner Interactive. Skeleton Crew is very reminiscent of the old arcade smash hit Smash TV. Some of the highlights of Skeleton Crew are that the sprites are large, there are 7 zones to complete, 8 end-level bosses, and 2-player simultaneous play.
Okay, but what about my Soul Star?
Soulstar for the Sega CD is yet another title created by Core
Oh,
Design.
thank
for
you,
Time
Ozzy
Warner
Daka,
Interactive.
for the
Soulstar is a
follow.
space
I
shooter
appreciate
with
that.
6 different planets to explore and 40 missions spread out among the planets. Soulstar can be played with 1 or 2 players in 360 degrees with full texture maps. Soulstar is also the first Sega CD game to use all 64 colors.
All 64 colors. And it's Sylvester and Tweety cagey. I just can't get over how much people love Tweety Bird. As a child, Tweety was so popular, and then as an adult, Tweety remains popular. I don't know the hold that somehow in the 90s, Tweety took hold of mothers, and they love them.
Tech Magic has created one of the most beautifully animated cartoon adventure games ever in Cagey Capers. Sylvester and Tweety will be published by Time Warner Interactive and will include 7 different levels to play in, with some of Sylvester's old buddies like Spike, Granny, Hippity Hopper, and more.
I hate Hippity Hopper. I always hated the Sylvester cartoons where the kangaroo came around because I was like, it's obviously a kangaroo. What is your problem, everybody? All right, what's next? You got 2 more. Viacom. Dracula Unleashed, yes.
Here's something to sink your teeth into. Last year's popular interactive CD-ROM movie Dracula Unleashed has been reformatted on a special combination disc for both PC and Macintosh. Dracula Unleashed incorporates over 90 minutes of video with over 40 live actors into a story based on Bram Stoker's legendary Gothic novel. The player takes on the role of Alexander Morris, brother of Quincy Morris from the book, who must, of course, seek out and destroy the title vampire.
And MTV's Club Dead, which I have played all the way through.
Filming has barely begun on MTV's Club Dead, a CD-ROM adventure that takes the fast editing style from the infamous cable music video channel. The story takes place in a Westworld-like vacation resort where the player has been hired to repair as a cyber plumber. Don't be put off by the fact that the press kit refers to the game as mind melting. Be on the lookout for this in mid-1995.
Done. Nickelodeon Director's Lab I've also played on stream.
Today's kids are already picking up computer operations faster than they learn to tie their shoes, so Viacom has taken the logical step in producing Nickelodeon Director's Lab. With the video help of Clarissa Explains It All's Melissa Joan Hart and an easy interface, kids can produce multimedia presentations, mini-movies, music videos, and more. This CD-ROM package is powerful enough to support files created in commercial production tools. Marshall McLuhan would be proud. Look for it in the fall.
I made something really bad with it, which is what I typically do with these kind of games. Next is Tale of Orpheus Curse.
If you know someone
I
who
knew
is
it was Are You
itching
Afraid
to
of the
become
Dark?
a member
Yeah.
of that
I played
campfire
this one too.
storytelling club, the Midnight Society, they should look into Viacom's new CD-ROM, Are You Afraid of the Dark? The Tale of Orpheus Curse. To achieve this singular honor, the player must guide a story begun by one of the Society's regulars. There's lots of puzzles to solve, classic film design, and the familiar characters and setting of Nickelodeon's popular program. Don't be afraid to seek out The Tale of Orpheus Curse on CD-ROM this fall.
You know what? I am too afraid to check it out, and I will cower in my closet instead. Virgin Interactive, last but not least, we got a lot to go through. Command and Conquer.
What if the balance of power suddenly shifted to the third world
Boom.
countries? That's the premise of Command and Conquer, a new strategy game. A strange meteor hits the Earth in the near future, creating a powerful new energy source, the mineral Tiberium. It's only available in strange places like Cambodia. Command and Conquer takes the strategy engine from Westwood Studios' popular Dune 2 Battle for Arrakis.
I don't think
and enhances
Cambodia
it
is
with
that
an original
strange.
storyline, hot-looking graphics rendered in 3D Studio, and live-action video. The game will probably be available in early 1995.
Okay. Let's keep going and see what happens.
Get your guns out. Creature Shock is a first-person perspective shoot 'em up with some nicely rendered, disgusting things to shoot at.
I may need to restart the disc. Oh, it froze on me. Oh, it straight up froze. Oh. All right, folks, give me a second here. I got to restart RetroArch. Oh, boy. All right, file. Da, na, 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 na. I guess it was. I guess it happens. It happens. It happens. Find where I put this. There it is. Okay, let's load this up. Loading you up. I can't believe I was betrayed by Virgin. R.I.P. All right, here's Xena. Always glad to see her. Goat. Doo-doo. All right. We were at Virgin. Okay, we did. Let's do Dune. I'm afraid of doing Creature
The
Shock.
popular Dune novels by Frank Herbert have already been translated into PC games. Virgin will be releasing the strategy game Dune 2 for Genesis this fall. The more adventure-oriented Dune 1 will be released on Sega CD. However, both products will simply be entitled Dune. For those of you that are unfamiliar with the Herbert novels, yes, both of you, the games revolve around Arrakis, a desert world which is the only source of a spice called melange, which enhances psychic power. The spice makes hyperspace travel possible, so it is crucial to all interspace commerce. If you want to know more, visit your local library. We can only take this forget reading business so far, you know.
You know what? If you go to my local library, the Dune books are checked out all the time. There's like a wait list for them. So maybe go down to your local Barnes and Noble or whatever's left. I forget what bookstores are left, and just sit there reading it in like the middle of the store.
Helicopter Aquatic Warfare Command, or HAWK, is billed as one of the most realistic helicopter flight
Thank you,
Players in
Baratonic,
charge
for
of a
the
band
follow.
of
Appreciate
mercenaries
that.
hired to wipe out a ring of pirates that wreak daily havoc on the Singapore Strait. The player controls 6 attack copters and must make the South China Seas safe for commerce once again. Take note, this flight sim is based on something other than a military plotline. That's as rare as Fashion Sense in the 70s. Hawk will be compatible with the Thrustmaster control systems and should be available before the end of the summer.
And Jungle Book.
The Disney version of Kipling's Jungle Book has been transformed into a fine-looking platform game similar to Aladdin.
Looks like shit,
It'll be
Captain.
available for the SNES and Sega Genesis in late July or early August. Hey, that's right about now. Mowgli swings through the jungle encountering friends and enemies from the film, including Baloo and Shere Khan. This game may serve as a good reminder to younger players that these characters did not originate with Tailspin.
Man, the fact that there was never I was about to say there was never a Tailspin game, but there is infamously a Tailspin game that really sucks. So, moving on, it's time for Corandia 3, Malcolm's Return.
The
Return,
third installment
Malcolm.
in the Corandia series, Malcolm's Return, has Malcolm, the villain from Corandia 1, returning to life, that is, and trying to clear his name. While the graphics are very much in the mode of the first 2 Corandia games, they have much more of a 3D aspect and are more fully rendered. This game is scheduled for Christmas release.
Okay. And Lands of Lore 2.
Lands of Lore 2
Oh my God.
promises to be a visual
Sorry,
feast
I was
of an
loud, but
adventure
oh my
game,
God.
complete with demons and dragons fully rendered in 3D Studio. Virgin was keeping mum
Ah.
on the exact details of the plot, but the game is scheduled for release in early 1995.
I like that. All right, Lands of Lore 2.
Lands of Lore...
Oh, we did that. Sorry. Back to Virgin Interactive. All right, Lynx.
The popular PC golf game Lynx will soon be available for play on the Sega CD. It is pretty much an exact replica of the play on the Torii course with minimal change in the interface. One interesting point to note is that Virgin pretty much reconstructed the course from scratch. The Sega CD version should be available in late August or early September.
Okay, and let's move on. What else we got here? Lost Eden.
Remember the good old days when dinosaurs and humans coexisted?
No.
No, I'm not talking about Jurassic Park 2. This is Lost Eden. In this strategy adventure game, the player is Adam, the king's son, who must find out the secret of the builders with his dinosaur buddies. Lost Eden is similar to the original strategy adventure game Dune, and also uses a similar engine. You can look for it around the holiday season.
Okay, Mech Commander.
The industry is on the verge of being inundated with giant, battling robot sims. Mech Commander is Virgin's take on this theme. The player controls a huge battle robot that plods over the terrain of near-future Earth, trying to restore the political balance and blow the bejeebers out of the bad guys.
Always blowing
As
the
you progress in the
bejeebers out
game,
of
you can
people.
improve your armaments and armor and become even more dangerous. Mech Commander uses 3D bitmap action and texture mapping, in addition to more than 20 minutes of stop-motion model animation. There's even a chance to blast the heck out of your friends in modem play. So put on your Min-May album and try and wait patiently until this comes out on CD-ROM in the fall.
Okay. And miscellaneous.
Here's some more quick news from Virgin.
Okay.
Beneath a Steel Sky, reviewed in IE Episode 3, will be available in its CD-ROM American version with full digitized speech, as you hear this digitized speech. Cannon Fodder, also reviewed in Episode 3, is about to be released in the US, complete with an 8-minute MPEG cartoon. And finally, The 11th Hour, previewed in Episode 2, is scheduled for an August or September release. The hot news is that the new Groovy player is supposed to get 30 feet per second from a double-speed CD using software only.
Cool.
A sequel to Out of This World will be released for Sega CD before the summer is out. For those who haven't gotten to play the original game, it is also included on Heart of the Alien Out of This World 2.
Okay. Virgin's got a lot going on. Let's see. Do we have any companies? Okay, that's it. We did the 1994 Summer CES preview. Oh my God. Oh, that was a lot. Are the previews here the same? No, these look different. Okay, well, let's go through the previews here. I do not think we will be finishing this one within an... I have 2 hours for this, so I don't think we have enough time for this. So what I'm going to do is just go through what we can in the previews and the reviews, and then I'll just finish this whole thing up another time.
When you're
But let's go.
designing a war game, you can hope your designers have enough knowledge of warfare to come up with a realistic package, or you can hire someone whose credentials are in question. Avalon Hill bills itself as a company for serious fun, so it's no surprise that they used a company that's a longtime Defense Department consultant to put together Fifth Fleet. With the help of Stanley Associates, Avalon Hill is releasing Fifth Fleet as the first in a series of naval strategy games, with the next release expected to be based either in the Western Pacific or in the Caribbean around the time of the Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962. Fifth Fleet's time frame is in the near future. This allows the game to have the latest in modern armament along with some weapons currently on the drawing board. By projecting ahead a few years, the designers give players a chance to fool around with planes and ships that are presently the product of a government engineer's imagination. The game is designed for 1 or 2 players and can also be played by email. The game features 16-color
Email?
VGA graphics, which should come as a relief to wargamers who aren't interested in making a massive upgrade to run games that demand as much graphics punch as the latest Wing Commander. From the main menu, you can get information on the disposal of your troops, along with the last known location of your enemy's units. The operations function also allows you to get the latest weather forecast. The game makes no mention as to whether meteorologists in the near future will be any more or less accurate than the ones of the present. There's also an online reference monitor that provides information about the game's plane, ships, and subs, and the weapons they carry. It also gives you details on the game values of your units as far as the damage they can sustain and inflict, along with their value and victory points. In the battle stage, the player is in complete control. You choose your target, and the computer tells you what weapons are at your disposal that will allow you to engage the enemy in combat. Each turn of the game is broken into phases. The total number of scenarios that will be available in the final version of Fifth Fleet hasn't yet been determined. However, the individual battles will all build to a final
Hey,
scenario.
damn the
which is
torpedoes,
World War
okay?
III. The game will also include a formation editor. There's nothing real complicated about Fifth Fleet, which is how Avalon Hill wants it. It doesn't take an incredibly sophisticated computer to run the game, and it doesn't take a degree in military history to appreciate it. If you're interested in a war game that has a solid strategic base that's easy to learn, you should take a look at Fifth Fleet.
No. How about Across the Rhine?
Microprose has long been known for their dominance in the simulation genre. One of their best-known successes was M1 Tank Platoon. It had everything from multi-tank controls to hill and air strikes. Building on the success of M1, Microprose has nearly completed its long-anticipated next-generation tank sim, Across the Rhine. With the anniversary of D-Day recently, there seems to have been an influx of tank games. Across the Rhine will soon rumble forth to do battle with the likes of Nova Logic's Armored Fist on the sales floors of software stores around the country. Across the Rhine is a World War II simulation where you follow the course of the war with some of the most famous tank divisions in Europe. The American 4th and 10th Armored Divisions or the
Tanks for
German
this
Panzer-Lehr
game.
Division. Across the Rhine is a lot like many of the Microprose games that you have come to love. As a player, you have many different levels of control throughout the game, from the driver of one tank to the level of control that allows the player to integrate armor, artillery, and infantry all at the same time. There is quite a variety in the playable tanks available to the player. For the Americans, you have the M4 Sherman and the M18. On the German side, you have the Panther, Panzer, and Tiger. Each tank has its own terrific texture map decals and camouflage. The graphics in Across the Rhine are stunning. In addition to the
This does
previously
look good,
mentioned
I will
camouflage
agree.
patterns on the tanks, there are beautiful trees and rolling hills to hide behind. Microprose has even gone so far as to include rotoscoped animations of infantrymen. Across the Rhine will also include a window-type view where the player can look at an overhead map, a zoomed-in overview, and an inside-the-tank view.
Wow,
The
inside
window
the
view
tank.
can help a player plan his or her strategies more efficiently, with the ability to see where obstacles, trucks, trees, or other tanks might be. The player can better decide what his next move should be. Though this may be just a short preview and overview of a far more detailed game, I'm sure that Across the Rhine should fill the void of tank warfare sims just fine. And as for the battle between Across the Rhine and Armored Fist, well, we'll just have to wait and see. Stay tuned to IE for full reviews of both games as the finished versions become available.
All right. We got Checkered Flag.
The insane speed of the Atari Jaguar cries out for racing games, and Atari will answer the call with Checkered Flag, formerly titled Red Line Racing, formerly titled Checkered Flag 2. If furious arcade racing is your thing, you'll want to take a closer look at Checkered Flag.
I like nice
scheduled for
arcade
late
racing.
summer or early fall release. Fans of virtual racing should flock to this game. The polygon graphics are attractive, and the switchable viewpoints are very reminiscent of that smash arcade hit. The speed is the most crucial part, and here Checkered Flag doesn't disappoint. Even with extra chips, 16-bit carts would have a hard time keeping up with this monster. Fast you will go, and fast you will stop. When playing this game, I noticed that a collision with anything, even nudging the guardrail with the side of the car, caused my vehicle to come to an abrupt and total stop. Of course, you should be penalized for hitting things or running off the road, but I found the
Looks great.
frequency of these sudden stops to be an annoying detraction from the awesome speed this cart attains.
Looks
But
like
work is
shit,
not done
I'm
on the
sorry.
game, so I'm hoping this will be one area that gets further attention before the game's release. One speed bump aside, Checkered Flag looks to be a very hot racing game, the kind that makes you sweat just watching it. The polygon graphics are very impressive, the sound is good, and this thing matches the speed of arcade machines. If you like to drive, and if you like to drive fast, give Checkered Flag 2 a spin this fall.
Okay, how about Dark Forces?
Previously, we had the opportunity to go toe-to-toe with the Imperials in space in X-Wing. Now LucasArts is
I bet
offering
I
us
could
the
beat up a
chance to get up close
stormtrooper.
and personal, mano-a-mano in Dark Forces, a first-person shooter scheduled to be released for the Christmas season.
You just
Don't
gotta
call it
bonk
a
off
Doom
their
clone with a
helmets.
Star Wars setting, because Dark Forces is a much better game than that. True, there are similarities, and comparison between the two is inevitable. However,
Checkered
there's a
Flag
big
was
difference between
underwhelming.
hell and the inside of an
Yeah,
Imperial
that's what I
destroyer.
feel like.
The Empire pays their light bill. What's better about it? For starters, it's Star Wars. Need I say more? Well, I will regardless. You're a spy aboard an Imperial Star Destroyer looking for the plans to the dreaded Death Star. While there, you uncover a plot by the Empire to create a series of mechanized super stormtroopers. Since Luke, Han, and Leia have their hands full with Darth Vader, it's up to you to single-handedly stop this newest threat to the rebellion. Gameplay is simple, but that isn't meant to be taken as a fault. You go head-to-head with a variety of enemies, from the lowly stormtroopers to Imperial officers to alien bounty hunters to the deadly Dark Troopers themselves. The premise is simple. Get them before they get you. And whatever you do, don't run short on ammo. LucasArts' original first-person engine is a marvel. It's fast, smooth-scrolling, and very detailed. In addition to the ability to pan and move freely in 360 degrees, you can look up and down, jump, and even duck. Most
So
games
it's
of
Star
this
Wars
nature feature an
Doom?
auto map. Dark Forces takes a novel approach to this element, showing the map as a heads-up display superimposed on the screen. Even better, the auto map
Yeah, I
will show
remember
you
this game
levels
being
other than the one
everywhere
you're
as a
currently
child.
on by pressing the tab key multiple times. The game is organized into missions, each with an objective. The missions take place in a variety of environments, ranging from the aforementioned Imperial Star Destroyer to one of several of the Empire's hidden bases planetside. All locations are rendered in exquisite detail. As any devotee of the Star Wars mythos can tell you, the bridge of the Star Destroyer actually looks like those pictured in the movies. Some of the most memorable scenes in Star Wars were the ones from the Death Star.
That's
Luke
true.
and Leia swinging across the trench as energy blasts came within a rat's whisker of punching their ticket, and Han charging around a corner single-handedly chasing down a squad of stormtroopers. If these are your favorite scenes from the movie, Dark Forces is the game you've been looking for. It gives you
My
a first-person
favorite scene is when
perspective
Luke
on running
loses his
through an
hand and
Imperial
he's like,
outpost, blasting away at the
ah!
Empire's minions before a stray blast takes you down for the count. Now, if only I had a lightsaber handy.
What about Deathgate, the Gate of Death?
Deathgate, based on the popular fantasy novels by Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman, will
Never
send
heard
the
of 'em,
player on a
sorry.
quest to reunite a broken world. However, nothing is entirely as it appears in this dark adventure, and even the point of the unification itself may come to question. Many years ago, two magic-wielding races, the Sartan and the Patrons, struggled over the destinies of the subordinate Mensch races, dwarves, elves, and humans. In a final gambit, the Sartan split the planet into 5 parts, one for each element, fire, air, stone, and water, and one prison world for the rival Patrons called the Labyrinth. Are you getting all this? Well, the upshot of all that background is that things are a real mess at the start of the game. The player is a patron named Haplo, trying to make his way out of the Labyrinth world. This strange prison is jam-packed with difficult puzzles, much to the annoyance of the patrons and the amusement of the Sartan. On the way, Haplo encounters Lord Czar, another patron who tells Haplo of the other worlds and the Death Gate that connects them. If the 4 component parts of the world seal can be reconnected, the worlds can be together again. So, Haplo begins his quest by traveling to Arianis, the world of air. This kind of travel can only be achieved by learning the rune symbol for each world that was engraved on the world seal. Every journey brings new knowledge that allows Haplo
Yeah, I
to
love
continue
the labyrinth
to the worlds
element.
of fire, stone, and water. Haplo encounters lots of humans, elves, and dwarves along the way, as well as dragons and many other staples of the genre. But the further he goes, the more he realizes that Lord Czar is probably not to be trusted, and that the mysterious Sartan are maybe not as bad as he had been led to believe. Gaining knowledge is
Oh.
an important part of Deathgate, as Haplo must not only find the appropriate rune to continue his
Yeah, the
travel,
UE in this
but each
game looks
world can
great.
also teach him new magical disciplines that will be very useful later on. Deathgate is the first Legend product designed specifically for CD-ROM. It features super VGA graphics, full digitized speech, and a full orchestrated score complete with leitmotifs for characters and events. It should be on the shelves in September.
Okay, but what about Double Dragon 5?
Double Dragon was the arcade
Oh,
title that
I remember
started
this.
the fighting
I remember
game
this.
craze back when the current crop of blood code crazed mutants were grinding G.I. Joe into the sandbox with Tonka trucks. Now the old favorite will go for the more modern one-on-one style of fighting contest with Double Dragon 5. Double Dragon 5 is a straightforward mano-a-mano fighter with plenty of kicks, punches, jumps, and throws. Although the game was still in its early stages, it will feature 12 fighters, each with their own home location, and will include 4 to 6 special moves per player. Add to this 4 levels of turbo play, and you should get a game fast enough for the most wired MK2 player. It has been scientifically proven that fighting games and parents of young children just don't get along. Double Dragon 5 should be a rarity in that parents shouldn't object too loudly to it. Yes, the goal is to beat a fellow human into submission, but DD5 lacks the copious blood and disturbingly visceral fatalities found in many other games of its type. Also, the characters are more cartoonish
Literally
than
one
lifelike, which
game,
puts
maybe
the emphasis
2.
on the play of the game, not on snuff. Double Dragon 5 looks like a solid fighting game that should escape the wrath of the concerned parent movement for the most part. The question is, will older kids raised on CNN and Mortal Kombat pay attention without the added appeal of pints of blood flying across the screen? As fighting games get bloodier and
CNN
bloodier,
known
only
for
time
showing
will tell if
lots
there's
and
a
lots of
market for
blood,
less
famously.
brutal games like this.
I get. I'm a concerned parent, and I hate that my child is watching CNN.
LucasArts has traditionally been a strong contender in the adventure gaming area. Full Throttle continues that trend, but differs from past games in several ways. The first thing you'll notice is that it isn't a humor game. While there are some very funny elements, the jokes aren't the focus of the story the way they were with Day of the Tentacle or Sam and Max. Another major difference between Full Throttle and previous adventure games is that Full Throttle is intended as a CD-ROM game. There may or may not be a floppy version following the initial CD release, but don't hold your breath. Thankfully, LucasArts appears to have realized that playing an adventure game without digitized speech these days is almost as appealing as watching a movie with subtitles. The
Wrong.
setting of Full
Wrong.
Throttle
Subtitles
is a grim
whip.
one. It is a dark and ominous future similar to that described in the Road Warrior movies and the popular Car Wars board game. Economic collapse has resulted in a shortage of resources. Predatory criminal gangs prowl the roadways, wreaking havoc and taking anything they can get their hands on. You control Ben Throttle, the leader of a motorcycle gang called the Polecats. Ben's been accused of the murder of the owner of a motorcycle manufacturing company. One look at that heroic jawline and you know he was framed. The object of the game is to keep Ben out of the hands of the authorities long enough to gather the evidence
Still need
you'll
to play
need
this
to clear
game. I've
his
never
name.
played it.
Another area
I'd
where
beaten
Full
Dave the
Throttle
Tentacle,
continues
though.
that trend is what LucasArts claims will be the most extensive compositing of traditional 2D animation with rendered 3D animation ever seen in a computer game. In this shot, Ben is a 2D cell-style animation, while the hovercraft was rendered using 3D Studio. Gameplay is another area where Full Throttle takes a new tack. While much of the game revolves around the inventory object puzzles traditional to adventure games, certain scenes have a slightly different flavor to enhance the movie-like atmosphere. Cutscenes are well integrated into the gameplay with dramatic use of camera angles. Note here, for example, the intricately drawn grimace of exertion we get from this close-up. Kind of draws you right into the story, doesn't it? Full Throttle's interface has been designed to emphasize the cinematic feel of the game. The screen isn't cluttered with an inventory bar. Instead, a simple mouse click brings up this nifty skull-shaped action toolbox. Anything you need Ben to do beyond simply walking around is controlled from here, and when you don't need it, the toolbox stays conveniently out of sight. LucasArts has to be commended for daring to be different here. When was the last time anyone released an adventure game that couldn't conveniently be pigeonholed into Tolkien fantasy, space opera, or humor? Full Throttle certainly isn't easy to classify, and when the game is released in late '94 or early '95, it is certain to be regarded as a milestone of the genre.
Yeah, it's if as I recall, it's a very well-regarded game. Okay, High Seas Trader.
In High Seas Trader from Impressions, hostile takeovers have nothing to do with lawyers and boardrooms. In this business simulation set in the 17th and 18th century, the only way you can take your company to the top is by putting your competition at the bottom of the ocean. You'll do your sailing and trading between 120 different ports. In addition to the basic management techniques that any good business must employ, you'll also get a chance to swashbuckle, whatever that is, when you meet ships controlled by foes out on the high seas. The first-person tactical combat phase allows you to fire a cannon and otherwise try to outmaneuver the competition. Once you gain the upper hand, you can board the vanquished ship and claim all of their cargo. Or you can simply finish up your task and literally blow them out of the water. If you plan properly, your fleet can grow to as many as 16 ships, including cargo vessels, warships, and pirate ships. And while you're building your fleet, you must also maintain it by equipping your ships with better armament or by repairing them when they're damaged. Although there are no unions on the old sailing ships, the morale and health of your crew will have an effect on your performance.
Just make
As
them
your
all
fleet
eat
grows,
hardtack.
you
It's
must
fine.
also recruit additional sailors, soldiers, and apprentices. They will all perform better as their experience grows. While the game's foundation is a business simulation, it's not a linear storyline. Political events can change alliances, and worldwide events can have an effect on the economy, which could have an impact on the prices you receive for buying and selling your goods. The changing weather can also wreak havoc with your fleet. If you're in a hurry, the game's interface has an option that allows you to skip the leisurely pace of sailing and move directly from one port to the other, sort of like a transporter on the high seas. Of course, if you run into another ship on your trip, you drop out of the fast lane and prepare for battle. A sailing simulation set in modern times would have to have an incredible design because it's hard to imagine a single exciting element to managing a bunch of old oil tankers, unless you really enjoy the notion of fouling the shores of Alaska. High Seas
kind
Trader
of.
puts you in a different place and time and lets you have fun while you build the biggest fleet around.
I could destroy Alaska if I really wanted to. All right, Kasumi Ninja. Famous Jaguar game.
Fans of home fighting games have been talking about Kasumi Ninja for months now. As the first fighting game for the Atari Jaguar, Kasumi Ninja will come under extreme scrutiny the second it's released. There's been a lot of pre-release hype about this kick and punch cart, but when I played it recently, I found a real rarity, a game that lives up to its own press. Kasumi Ninja features
I
a wide
disagree with
variety
you,
of
bro.
characters, from ninja assassins to Native American fighters. Each character has its own fighting style, so even basic moves like punches, kicks, and jumps will differ from fighter to fighter. One feature lacking in many fighting games is the ability to choose your opponents and locations in any order. Kasumi Ninja is a tournament fighting game, but it adds a little more to the basic climb the ladder and kill this big bad dude scenario. After you beat all the regular characters, you must fight the end boss, a ninja possessed by evil spirits, as each of the characters and win. But that was only a hologram of the bad guy. Then you have to make your way through a dangerous labyrinth, fight him for real, and escape the labyrinth. Only then will you have won the game. The game runs at 30 frames per second, and it really shows. This is one of the fastest fighters I've ever played, and the animation is superb. In a bow to Shang Tsung, defeating a character gives you the ability to morph into them and use their powers. You have to become proficient with all the fighters since the endgame boss must be defeated by each character in order for you to win. In games in general, blood is good. But in fighting games, it's almost a biblical commandment. Blood is cool.
Blood is cool.
sells.
Well, not
Considering
really.
that, Kasumi
Yeah, I
Ninja
like the
should
Fire
go
Crotch,
over big.
Scottish
There's more
guy the
blood in here
most.
than Acclaim ever thought of throwing into Mortal Kombat, and the blood
Arnold,
collects in
remember Me
gruesome
Too? I
pools on the
always
floor for
confuse
the
Kasumi
duration of the
Ninja
fight
with,
instead of mysteriously
I don't know
evaporating
what that
after
Naughty
a few
Dog game was
seconds.
called, but
Kasumi
yeah.
Ninja will include just about every option you could think to throw into a fighting game. Naturally, it'll have lots of special moves and
Way of the
lightning
Warrior.
fast
Yeah,
combos.
yeah, that's what
You
I
can
confuse
play
this
in
game
two-player
with.
mode or against the computer, which is sensitive to your abilities and will adjust to your style. Hidden characters, a turbo mode, and a blood lockout code will also be included. Of course, no fighting game of the brutal, bloody, malicious sort would be complete without a host of disgusting fatalities to learn. Not to worry, you'll get your fill of violent death with Kasumi Ninja. Apart from being interesting and extremely well animated, this game's fatalities are the bloodiest, most gruesome mutilations of dead people I've seen on any platform, home or otherwise. Scheduled for release in August or September, I expect Kasumi Ninja to sell a ton of Jaguar systems. It's beautiful to look at, exciting to play, and should take a long time to beat. Plus, it's easily the bloodiest fighting game yet on any home system, and that alone should guarantee strong support from the mutant crowd.
All right, mutants, buy Kasumi Ninja and also buy MechWarrior 2.
It's been 5 long years, but the wait for MechWarrior fans is nearly over. Activision is near completion of MechWarrior 2: The Clans, which will use the same BattleTech universe as the original, with the addition of all the technological advances that have taken
Hear me
place
out,
since
chat.
the release of the original game in 1989.
MechWarrior
The new game will have
crossover.
VGA graphics compared to EGA in the original.
MechWarrior 2:
Texture
The
mapping
Clans
gives the graphics a more
combined
realistic look and
with
feel, and the sound is
Clan of
enhanced
the
through the
Cave
use of
Bear.
a
How do we
8-bit
feel about
soundtrack.
that?
Kelly
Like,
Smack, the
imagine
executive
all
producer
these
of the simulation
cavemen,
division at
but they
Activision,
had
says
mechs.
there are a number of elements in
Prehistoric
MechWarrior 2
mechs
that
made
set
out
it
of
apart from the
rocks.
competition.
We're on the ground. A lot of the action is very close. Because of the rules of the BattleTech universe, we deal with the in-your-face combat. We deal with the close action, where if you're firing off a set of machine guns, you see the explosions take off on the left arm of the mech you're firing at. That's probably the primary difference between ours and any other simulation, is that we really put you into the combat experience. We try to submerge the player into the idea that he's in this huge, lumbering mech.
Simulation fans who like their games without a lot of unnecessary distractions will be pleased to know that MechWarrior 2 will be focused strictly on gameplay. According to Zmack, one of the design team's goals was to eliminate any sort of storyline.
What we instead did was enter the career mode that allowed the player to enter a military career
And
more
no
or
story
less
for you.
chance and circumstance, and his own personal ability is what takes him from one scenario to the other. That will allow for a wide open area
Dinos
of
piloting
gameplay for
Dino
the
Max.
player,
See, we
and
got
allow
good
the player
ideas
to play it
happening
over
here.
and over again without experiencing the exact same scenarios.
The end result is a game that Zmack feels will please MechWarrior fans while drawing in a new group of players who enjoy simulations.
At that time, I took the concept, immersed myself in the world. I was familiar with the BattleTech board game, but wasn't really familiar with all of the new materials that were available through the Fossil universe. Submersed myself into it and came up with a concept that I felt would appeal to the target audience that we were trying to focus in on, the Falcon 3.0 buyer, the F-15 Strike Eagle buyer. The ones that were fascinated with physics and dynamics, yet also fascinated with combat aspect. The futuristic
Not me, I
aspect
hate
of MechWarrior
combat.
2 made it appealing to a broad audience, as well as that existing FOSSA audience or BattleTech audience that kind of pre-existed out there, took Mech 1 and ran with it.
Using the familiar FASA universe did make a difference in the design of MechWarrior 2. Zmack says that while his superiors at Activision gave his design team a lot of leeway in the creative process, they knew that BattleTech fans wouldn't want a lot of changes.
For those that are really into the universe, they'll probably drool over the idea of the mech plant. This allows them to take a set of geometry, a mech, build it from the ground up with their own engines, their own heat sinks, their own armor ratings, their own internal structures, their own weapon configurations. They can completely customize it. They'll also be able to dump that out to an ASCII file and use it with the board game.
Each of the mechs will consist
Okay,
of
it's kinda cool you could
450
use
to
it with a board
500
game.
polygons per figure. The texture mapping process is the same that was used in Strike Commander. Zmack feels MechWarrior 2 will have a distinctive look that should be very pleasing to game players.
What we've tried to do is not use the texture maps just for fluff and stuff, but to use the texture maps to enhance gameplay and the visual representation of the product, thereby increasing the suspension of disbelief.
The audience is there for this game, and Activision is ready and eager to please it. With 5 years of technological advances available since the original game, MechWarrior 2: The Clans should drive simulation design to a new level.
Okay. But what about the game that we heard about earlier?
Yes, TSR and SSI
Look at
have
this guy.
parted ways. But don't fret. Not only will SSI continue to produce sequels of
Amazing.
older products, but one new AD&D title, already in production at the time of the disbanding, is yet to come. Menzo Baranzan, due this October, looks to be SSI's most intense RPG yet. Like Ravenloft before it, Menzo Baranzan will definitely appeal to the dark players who favor games that drip evil. The Drow Elves,
I love when games drip evil. Oh my God, look at him.
Character types make their
Look at the
first
Drow.
computer
Oh, wow.
appearance here.
Hello, sir.
In fact, the game's almost
Yes, welcome to the
unpronounceable title
stream,
is
sir.
the name of the capital city of Underdark, the Drow's home world. They've captured a friend of yours, and your objective, oddly enough,
Putting
is to
on all
rescue the
Enron
poor
clothing
bugger
to
before
have
he's
that evil
sacrificed to
drip.
Loaf, the demon queen of spiders. How much darker can a game get? For those who could care less about the plot, drool about this. Menzo Baranzan features printable auto-mapping, which is so cool that it single-handedly makes the game a must-play.
Okay,
Maps can be
auto-mapping.
notated
Let's
before
go.
printing also, so you can customize them to your heart's content. Finally, the days of furious scribbling while wandering around labyrinths are over. Inventory and character control are equally capable of bringing a sigh of relief. No screen hopping here. Every character and its equipment is manipulated via mouse on a screen. Virtually everything else is mouse-driven also, making Menzo Baranzan a game that anyone should feel comfortable with from the get-go. A couple of other features are adaptations of
We got
common
new mage
AD&D
spells.
pen and
We
paper
got new
features.
pre-spells too. Don't
For
care about that. I want
instance,
the
in
new mage
addition to new
spells.
spells,
Give me
levitation
password.
and flight are now possible during combat, making for new perspectives and new strategies. The Drow don't inhabit the Underdark alone, you know. Several other grotesque species will be pleased to meet you upon your descent. Don't leave home without your sword. The color scheme in Menzo Baranzan matches the game's motif. Dark, but it's a beautiful dark. SSI's new 320 by 400 graphics engine shows more detail than almost anything else out there. Supplementing the great graphic quality are fast-scrolling and resizable game windows that adapt to your machine's speed. Technologically, this is one of the most
I do like
advanced
this.
games to date. My guess is that Menzo Baranzan won't disappoint.
What about NASCAR racing? Will that disappoint?
NASCAR racing is the newest racehorse to come from the Papyrus stable.
Racehorse.
NASCAR will feature every great aspect of IndyCar racing and more. Arguably, the most important new aspect of NASCAR is its 640 by 480 high-resolution Super VGA graphics on the CD-ROM version only. The still photos of NASCAR look impressive, but they don't do justice to the actual gameplay. This game is officially licensed by NASCAR and is based upon their premier racing series, the Winston Cup. That should please even the most avid stock car fans out there. NASCAR racing has several key features that give it the feel of the real thing. In playing the game, I was impressed by the response of the car. This is about as good as it gets, so if you don't like driving this car, you wouldn't like driving a real Winston Cup race car either. You're
Great, I
presented
don't
with
want to
nearly
drive a
every
real
option
car.
that the big boys have to choose from. For example, you can adjust the rear spoiler angle, your tires, your suspension, your gear ratio, and more, just like the crews at a Winston Cup race. One of the major concerns of Papyrus in designing
Milko?
NASCAR racing was how their
Miko.
game would stack up to the
Midco.
real thing. From my
Miko.
experience of attending Winston Cup races, they've done an excellent job of recreating the
You've
feel
been to
and
races?
sounds produced
Cool.
when these real
I've never
drivers
been
are
to a
racing
car
for the
race. They
checkered
scare
flag.
me.
Paying attention
afraid
to
the cars are
detail in
gonna
the
hit me.
development stages can pay huge dividends when the new product is in its finished state. The graphic look isn't the only area where NASCAR racing comes close to the racetrack. Like in its IndyCar game, Papyrus has come up with a car that changes as the race wears on. Handling attributes change with the different tire temperatures, compounds, pressures, and wear. Also affecting your ride are fuel load, engine setup, track bank, and grade. Still following the realism path, Papyrus gives you real tracks to race on. The game will initially include somewhere around 9 tracks with more to follow in the future. In addition, the game will include approximately 20 real cars, along with what Papyrus calls realistic car crashes. Varying speeds upon impact will cause different parts to fly from the car, and depending on the severity of the damage, you may be able to pull back on the track and rejoin the race. If you're familiar with IndyCar and the add-ons available for it, you know that a paint kit was available. Now, this paint kit wasn't quite what everyone had expected, but it was still far better than none at all. Once again, the Papyrus pit crew has decided that an enhanced paint kit will be included in NASCAR racing. If you're not familiar with IndyCar and don't fully understand the concept of the paint kit, other than the fact that you color your car, let me explain. You can paint your car to look like any
He's
race
just going
car that
off
you've
on
ever
paint,
seen.
huh?
You can also add decals to certain sections to give your car that final racy appearance. Graphic detail is a true wonder in NASCAR racing. From the superb crowd scenes to backgrounds exactly like the real track to the very finest car detailing, NASCAR racing has it all. For all of you that are race fans, don't let this one slip by.
I won't.
NASCAR is modeled to look just like you would see it from the car and from television footage. Even for those of you that are not particularly interested in racing sims, this may surprise you. NASCAR racing from Papyrus is impressive. Nearly every aspect of the real thing has been incorporated into the game. There have been several good racing simulations over the years, but nothing at this high level of quality. NASCAR racing is laps ahead of the competition and is the best racing simulation in every possible aspect that I've ever seen.
Okay, NASCAR racing, I guess, is pretty good if you like NASCAR. But what about Panzer General?
You're going to be in familiar surroundings when you play Panzer General from SSI, but you aren't necessarily going to end up with familiar results. You're a German general stationed in Poland in 1939 at the start of this wargame, but you're not limited by history. In other words, you can overcome the Allies and bring World War II to a close a few years ahead of time if you're good enough. According to Rick Martinez, a member of the Panzer General design team, all of the familiar elements of the war are in the game, but your actions can change the course of the war.
I'll give you a classic example. If you really blitz through the early scenarios, you'll get up early enough to go to Sea Lion. You'll actually have a chance to invade Britain. If you invade Britain and succeed, even partially, we've got a plan now, there'll probably be no West Front. It's canceled. You can concentrate on the East Front. And that'll work the other way, too. You know, if you do well and take the path on the flow chart that goes east, you essentially may shut down the East Front early and can concentrate on the West.
This game,
May I take
the
your
first
order,
of a new
please?
series
May I
from
take your
SSI's
order for more
internal design
tanks?
group, is the company's first strategy war game to use Super VGA graphics. The game also includes World War II film footage of air, land, and sea combat that runs during and between combat scenarios. There will be over 35 scenarios available to play. You can stick with the basic scenarios, or you can tackle the campaign mode, which will let you fight the entire war. Over 350 unit types are included, from Tiger tanks to B-17 flying fortresses. As you work your way from battle to battle, you bring core units along with you who become tougher to defeat as they gain experience. The longer you last in a campaign and the more battles you win, the larger your influence and prestige grow. While keyboard addicts will be able to stick with their hotkeys to play the game, the interface design will allow you to simply point and click with your mouse. The design also includes a go-to screen that gives you the chance to review all of your units to make sure that you haven't forgotten anyone. Martinez also says that the game setup will allow you the flexibility to make Panzer General as easy or as difficult as you wish.
You can literally cheat, turn on the hidden units, turn off the hidden units. You can make supply a part of the game. You can turn off the supply. You can literally make the game simpler or easier by a couple keystrokes. You can decide to track or not to track certain elements. We try to set it up to make it as easy as possible to play these games so you can concentrate on the strategy and the fun parts.
If you thought the Germans could have done a lot
Look at
better
all
in
of
World War
them.
II if it hadn't been for that
I
sociopath in
want
charge,
this one.
here's
This
your
one's
chance
cute.
to prove it. With Panzer
This
General,
is like, you remember
a humble gamer,
Adoptables?
can change the course
This
of
is like
history.
Tank Adoptable. Oh, I want to adopt them. All right, it's time for Space Simulator.
After the success of 5 generations of Flight Simulator,
Oh, don't tell me it's a Microsoft
is launching
Home
into the
game. I
future
didn't
with
see
its
it in the Microsoft
long-anticipated
Home.
Space Simulator, giving you the chance to explore outer space freely without having to jump through bureaucratic hoops.
Did
With
this
cunning,
come out?
determination, and outright begging, IE
don't
managed to
remember
get a sneak
this.
peek at what's in store. Microsoft fans will be pleased to know that you can expect the same type of
Man,
menu system
I didn't
as in
see
the
this
Flight
was
Simulator
part of the
series.
Microsoft Home
Although
series.
you
I
won't
gotta
find
add
too
this
many
to my
menu items that don't have a sub-menu or two. Gravitational
showcase.
forces in space are minimal and behave entirely different than on Earth, so more tools are available to experiment with.
Okay, so it
a
did come out. I'll
trademark
have
of
to take a look
Microsoft
for it
Flight
then.
Sims has always been the ability to use as much or as little detail as you wish. However, I doubt if most people could even imagine the level of detail included in Space Simulator, let alone wish for it. Just as Flight Simulator always started you on the default runway at Chicago Meigs, Space Simulator starts you out staring down at the Earth below with your standard sci-fi movie ring-type space station. From there on, it's your ball game. While standard missions are available, you're always flying free unless you've turned on the autopilot or charted a course in the
Did
flight
they ever
computer.
make a basketball
Bitmapped
game
planets look
where
convincing,
the
and
gravity
flight
was
sim
different,
fans
like
will
playing
recognize this
basketball in
rendition of Earth
space?
from the expanded map view in version 5. And even though the moon is pretty basic looking to begin with, the detail is incredible. But alas, this will cost you in PC power. You'll be screaming,
"But Captain, I'm giving her all she got! She can't get any more!"
In space, your piloting is based on gravity alone instead of being coupled with fluid dynamics. Your ship's every movement is controlled by thrust and velocity. You control the
There
thrust
are
in 3 stages.
basketball and
As
space
well as
games
the
where the
sticks of
gravity's all
dynamite
messed
strapped
up?
onto
Okay,
the back,
good,
you have
good.
directional thrust for general steering purposes and fine thrust used mainly for docking. View options
Oh,
are
you can
flexible
adjust the
enough
gravity
to give you
in NBA
almost
Jam?
any viewing angle, and you'll appreciate this once you try to dock one of these things. Control your view by dragging either the vertical or horizontal sliders. This orange spot is the docking bay. Given its location, the viewing options are well warranted. I was extremely impressed by the variety of spacecraft offered for free flight. Some of them real, and others simply flights of fancy. They all operate
Flights
the
of
same way.
fancy,
The only
thank
thing
you.
that differs is the velocity or momentum each spacecraft can build up. Space Simulator will offer more travel
Cool.
area than a human can cover in a lifetime. A number of cities such as Houston, Paris, Miami, and Madrid are offered as launch points. In space, planets get dark Alaska style, and then some. If a chosen location is too dark, you'll have to play with time a bit and not just the time of day. You may have to adjust the time of year or change to a different part of the month to get more light. Something that is not new to PC games, but is new to Microsoft's Simulator series, is the use of multiple window control screens,
Yeah,
allowing you
this
to
is
customize
so
your
busy.
control
This would
screen
make
to
me,
your
like-
situation and priorities.
I'm
Be
afraid to
warned,
tackle
Space
this game,
Simulator
honestly.
will be
Look at
very
this.
demanding on your system, but the experiences will be well worth the wait for flight sim junkies.
Hey, what about Star Trail?
When a company produces a sequel to a game, it's usually more
Bigfoot!
complicated than its predecessor. That's not the case with Realms of Arcania
Hello,
Star Trail,
I'm
Surtech's sequel
Bigfoot
to Blade of
the Elf.
Destiny.
I
While the
am
fantasy role-playing
here
game is
to
certainly more
shoot
powerful
my
than the original,
arrows and
designers
have,
Ito
well,
Henkel, who worked
big
on
feet.
both games, said a
I will
conscious effort
stomp
was
through
made
the
to make
forest
Star
and
Trail
defeat my
easier to
enemies
learn.
with my feet.
Unfortunately, what we found out was that it was not appealing so much to people who weren't into role-playing game at all. So we didn't appeal to the novice market, which we tried to do with Star Trail, then the sequel to that, where we said, okay, we have to capture both of them. You know, we want to have the best out of both worlds: the hardcore role-playing gamers and the novice players who just want to have a nice game to play with.
Star Trail is set in medieval northern Europe with a very Viking-like 3D look. You're wandering around Arcania searching for Star Trail, the latest blade to beat all blades, along with the Salamander Gem, which is reputed to have the power to effect alliances between enemies and friends alike. Players can choose from a variety of characters to lead the search party, or can use the statistics and attributes provided by the game itself to create your own specific character. The choices you make, along with the companions you choose to bring with you, will make or break your quest, because Arcania isn't a real cheery place. The dwarves and elves are fighting each other, and the orcs are ready to take on anyone who strays into their path. All in all, the atmosphere is one of dread and evil, which may sound awful, but actually
Alina
makes for
and
much more
Melina.
interesting
Do you think
game.
they're
As you roam
related?
the land, you'll have plenty of chances to meet the inhabitants and pick up useful information. When selecting your party, it's a good idea to bring in a wide variety of skills, since different approaches will be necessary depending upon who you meet on the road. Once you get into the combat phase, you have 3 options to choose from. You can take complete control of the fighting. You can tell the computer to control all the characters but your own, or you can have the computer in complete control of determining the winner. If you played Blade of Destiny, Henkel says there's a good chance that your input helped with Star Trail.
A lot of people who were playing Blade of Destiny here in the States wrote into us and told us, well, this is what we like about the game, but unfortunately it has this drawback and that drawback, so could you do something about that, you know? And we just collected all those customer reports and letters coming in, and before we started developing Star Trail, we sat down, made lists
Okay,
of
we
what
got
people
Groof,
really wanted to see in the
Kiri,
game, what they really
Zayride,
never
Punch,
ever wanted to see
Rowan,
again in
Melina,
the game,
and the dead baby
things
over
like that.
here.
So we came up with this list.
Not
and said,
sure about
okay,
the dead
this is what
baby.
the ideal program probably will look like.
Surtech is looking for the best of both worlds in Realms of Arcania Star Trail. The company hopes that fans of Blade of Destiny will return for the sequel, while those role players who were overwhelmed by the original will take advantage of the improved online help in the new game.
All right, we're finishing up here with 2 more previews. We got Ultra Vortex and Zephyr.
The Jaguar will be getting an infusion of new blood this fall in the form of top-notch fighting games. From Beyond Games comes Ultra Vortex, one of the most talked about fighters for the Jag. Beyond Games
The
started
Jag.
out
I'm
3
calling
years
it the
ago,
Jag
their
now.
first release being the critically
Yeah.
praised Battle Wheels
Playing
for
Kasumi
Atari's
Ninja on the
Lynx portable
Jag.
system. Now, developing for the Jaguar and 3DO,
Oh my
Beyond
God.
Games are interested in making
Chat.
3D simulations and action
What if they
games that
made
take full
a
advantage of
Jag
the
game
Jaguar's
for the
increased power.
Jag?
Fighting games
Could you
don't
imagine?
really need a premise, but you'll get one anyway. The Guardian of the
Would
Vortex,
CBS
a
even?
sinister,
No, they
all-powerful
wouldn't.
entity,
They're
has been
coward.
watching
Well,
over Earth's
I like
warriors
the
since the
aesthetic
dawn
here,
of
though.
time. He's finally fed up with our progress as a warrior race. The year is 2152, and the Guardian announces that this test will be the Earth's last. If we cannot produce a warrior to defeat him in battle, he will destroy the entire planet. As Attila the Hun once said, violence is justified if it's in the service of mankind. The 10 characters in Ultra Vortex reflect the game's post-apocalyptic sci-fi setting. The fighters are separated into 3 classes. The meat hackers are of human descent and have unaltered DNA. The power shifters are mutants with the ability to alter their cellular structures. The Society of Machines, Androids, and Cyborgs, or SMAC for short, are formerly mass-produced worker robots who have gained the powers of artificial intelligence and self-determination. One of the meat hackers, Dreadlock, is a
It's
nasty
so
opponent
funny
to come up
how
against,
all
but a
this
lot of
old
fun to play.
sci-fi deals
He
with
doesn't rely
AI,
on
and
energy
now that we
bolts
have
or other
AI,
tricks of
it's
that
like,
sort.
hello,
His staff
I
is
am
his weapon,
AI.
and it's
Why
more
don't you
brutal
mix
and deadly
bleach
than
and
any yoga
ammonia?
fire. His staff fighting technique
Yay!
also gives him the longest reach of any character in the game, making him one tough character to get a hold of and pummel. Representing the power shifters is Volcana. She has a genetic mastery of fire and can burn an opponent's face off from across the screen. In addition to the regular assortment of punches,
Hello,
kicks, and throws,
I am
Volcana
AI.
can throw
I
powerful
recommend
fireballs,
that
jump
you
forward and
eat
change into
dirt
a spinning ball
and
of fire, and
worms.
perform other hot tricks. Rumors of her being romantically linked with Sub-Zero have been greatly exaggerated. On hand to
Dreadlock
represent
blows
the
weed on
interests
you.
of the
That's good.
SMAC is Buzzsaw. This robot was originally built for felling large trees, but it has found its endowments equally effective against living organisms. It slices, dices, chops, mashes, bashes, whips, purees, fillets, mauls, mangles, and generally makes things messy. To complement the unique characters, UV will feature at least 8 stunning backgrounds. Described as H.R. Geiger steps into the computer age, these backgrounds feature huge objects formed from living rock and are simply stunning to behold. All the backgrounds will be
Jack
animated,
the
and they
series
will
and the
all
Jaguar
include
didn't
some
really.
sort of
Okay, I
character
guess if they didn't
interaction.
exist at the same
Fans
time,
of
it makes
Tempest
sense.
2000
But I would have
already
loved
know
to
that
play a
the
Jag
Jaguar is
game.
capable of producing great music even without the CD player.
If they
The
did
Ultra
make a
Vortex
Jag
will
game, it'd
remind
probably be like
everyone of
a
this.
hidden
The game
object
will
one. Now
feature
that
a
I
theme
think
song
about
for
it.
each fighter and each location. The industrial techno hardcore rap grunge soundtrack will be presented in 6-channel audio and will feature real sampled instruments. Controlling UV is a simple affair. 4 buttons are used, one each for punches, kicks, special moves and combos, and power-ups. Blocking is accomplished by holding the directional pad away from the opponent. The Jaguar doesn't really need a 6-button stick
I don't
yet, but I
block.
think the
I
time
don't
will
believe in
arrive before
blocking.
too long.
I
Not to worry,
don't like
that's
to
what
use block when I
Thrustmaster is
game.
for. The smooth scrolling and sheer speed of Ultra Vortex should be
And
enough
this
to
is why I
satisfy
die a
any
lot when I play
adrenaline-filled
these
turbo
games.
junkie. The backgrounds and characters are very smoothly animated, and they respond quickly to the controls, even though there's only 3 months' work in the project so far. The speed and fluid motion of the characters rival that of the arcade version of Mortal Kombat 2. Ultra Vortex will have the required regimen of projectiles, teleports, grabs, grapples, throws, jumps, punches, kicks, head dives, and morphs found in the most popular fighting games, as well as the special moves of each character. Of course, there will also be lots of blood and gore, and some shocking fatalities. For concerned parents, a lockout code is provided to make this card a kinder, gentler game for young children whose taste for blood hasn't developed yet. Although it's still quite early in production, Ultra Vortex looks like a prime reason to get off your butt and get a Jaguar. This fighting game looks and
No,
sounds
it's not.
great and is fast, brutal, and intense. The backgrounds are amazing and the characters are unique and interesting in a genre that is quick to repeat itself. Ultra Vortex is scheduled for release in November, and until then we'll keep you informed of any new characters and other developments the folks at Beyond Games are willing to talk about.
I developed my taste for blood when I was 8 years old. I actually have the opposite of a taste for blood. I absolutely hate when things taste metallic. So I can't have liver. I can't have like a lot of other things that have like, I could never have blood sausage.
What
It would
game
kill
comes
me.
to mind
Anyway,
when
here's
someone
Zephyr.
mentions New World Computing? The Might and Magic series, of course. But New World has a new game in town, and it goes by the name of Zephyr. Zephyr may have a strange name, but it has a familiar concept. Interplanetary governments have become weak and useless. Giant corporations are what make and break the law. Everything that's anything revolves around the IBC, the Interplanetary Battle Circuit. Everything has come down to 6 large corporations clamoring and battling to stay on top of one another. Each corporation sponsors one Zephyr driver. Zephyr is a code name for the hover tanks used in the arena. The corporation's tanks are representatives of that corporation. Each tank has special attributes for which the particular corporation is known, giving a diversity in gameplay and tactical strategy. There are a total of 8 different worlds, each with a few different arenas to do battle in. The gameplay is a lot like that of the ubiquitous Doom. One good piece of news is that Zephyr supports multiple players via modem or network. New World Computing has also included support for several VR headsets, which will soon become available. One of the big differences between Zephyr and Doom is the perspective. While the heart of the two games are extremely similar, the player is given an illusion that they are quite different. For example, a lot of the Zephyr arenas are outside, underwater, or take place in ruins. Also, the network play allows up to 6 people to play at once instead of just 4. All in all, Zephyr looks like at least a good and potentially an excellent action game. Although New World hasn't really tackled the action genre before on this scale, if they can maintain the high graphic detail without losing speed or gameplay, Zephyr could be the next mega hit tying up your network.
All right, and that, my friends, is interactive entertainment, CES report, and the previews. Let's see what the reviews do. Oh, there's only 3. You know what? Why don't we just do it? Why don't we just review these games and finish this off? Let's go.
360 takes to the seas once again with the second generation of their Harpoon naval warfare simulation, with all the sights and sounds of the real McCoy. As you can see, there certainly is some impressive photography at work here.
Too bad it's in the opening credits. Actually, it's a good thing the credits aren't at the end of the game because no one would see them if they were.
Too true. This game belongs on a CD.
Just once, I'd like to see one of these warfare games show some action. Hey guys, you've got the footage, and if a system can play this game at all, it can certainly handle a few AVIs. Once you've experienced those awesome graphics, only to be disappointed later on, you get to work your way through the setup options.
This is where Harpoon 2 excels. Sure, you get your usual pick-and-choose scenario and skill level routine, but 360 is also following the customization trend by providing the tools that allow you to create and edit your own missions.
And let's not forget a feature of great importance. You can also label each of your windows to suit your needs.
Among the resources available for contact evaluation is a complete database of all subs, ships, planes, bases, and weapons. A little more intelligent and creative thought is needed to efficiently work fresh contacts. You may not have a firm identification of a newly acquired contact, but its electronic emissions may give a clue as to whether it should be examined closely.
And just to keep it interesting, friendly and sometimes outright unknown contacts drift in and out of the picture. Since you'll have a lot of traffic and activity to monitor, identification by color recognition reduces eye strain and reaction time enough to make a difference. These palettes can also create some custom colors.
Oh boy, subliminal advertising. We're cooking now. Navigation is a snap. Point and click to guide the way, with each click creating a waypoint. And they've got that flexible thing working here too, as you can change speed as well as direction. Merely click on the waypoint where you want to make the change, set the new speed, and the asset will change speed when it reaches that waypoint.
I was really impressed by the navigation model. You can draw a direct line to your destination, and if the route goes over land, the navigator will automatically choose the most direct course around it.
And if you should require a sudden change in course, merely click on the desired waypoint and drag it to your preferred location. The change is instantaneous.
Yeah, and it doesn't take long either.
There are no limits to your navigational abilities. If your ship has to cover a wide area, you can plot a wide sweeping course and forget about it. Evaluating a distant contact is more of an art than a science. Sometimes you just have to take the information you're given and make an educated guess, but after a while you'll be able to smell a skunk a mile away, or several miles away as the case may be.
In combat, you're treated to a barrage of audio and video feedback.
But still, all these short little video outtakes. If you're going to use a video routine, use it right and
Forget
let me have
reading
a separate
12
window
episodes
to
of
view it
IE,
in progress
only
as I monitor
how
other
much?
actions.
That
How
way,
much?
I can view my handiwork over and over and...
Hey, got a little carried away with the map titles, didn't you?
Never! This is Sierra Tango Alpha. New contact spotted. Over. In the middle of combat, things can get pretty hectic, and you want to know what's really annoying?
Oh, I don't know. A meat cleaver upside the head, maybe?
No, but
No.
you're close. This is annoying.
That's annoying?
No, not that. Look.
Ooh, that's a big Twinkie. Your mouse must have been clicking like a card in a bicycle wheel.
But as with any game I take on, I was the victor and the good guys came out on top, as my post-mission evaluation clearly demonstrates.
Gee, does that include this one too?
Okay. Let's do the pros.
Harpoon 2 has more flexibility than any game of this genre that I've ever seen before. The ability to create and edit missions and set up your own custom interface adds dramatically to the replayability of this game.
And the cons.
I'd like to see more of that flexibility applied to order issuing. I want the ability to change orders for a plane or task force, either mid-mission or after completing a mission, since my subordinates always seem to return to base with blinders on. Also, the visual cues announcing new and lost contacts really interrupted my game, and it was a major distraction as it blocked my screen, even cascading down it in large quantities, and it automatically slowed down the game speed.
Okay, what else should we try? Guardians of the Fleet, Great Naval Battles 2, and of course, the original Harpoon. Let's go back to the reviews. Next is Outpost.
I've been waiting for Outpost for a long time, and now that it's here, I wish I was still waiting. Outpost is a terrific game. Its only problem is that it's not all there. This incomplete version is just as much of a tease as the demo I saw 3 months ago.
No kidding. I thought this was supposed to be the final version, but this is a beta in a cardboard box. Outpost promises great things, but it's been sabotaged by large bugs and an all-too hasty release. For the few of you who don't yet know the premise of Outpost, it goes something like this. About 50 years from now, it's discovered that a large asteroid is on a collision course with Earth. The impact will wipe out most life on the planet. An attempt is made to shatter the asteroid with a nuclear warhead, but this only splits it into 2 pieces, which will both impact on Earth. Mankind's only hope for survival is to launch a seed ship and found an off-world colony.
I liked the hard science approach and the fact that the game uses actual NASA data. Everything you do in this game is really being researched now, and that's a nice change of pace for space game.
Your first task is to pick 4 star systems to send probes to in the hope of finding a suitable planet. At this point, it becomes obvious
Kroger
that although
60,
the manual
you
is
go
packed
there
full
for
of
food.
that trademark
Okay,
Sierra wit,
okay,
it
I
contains
saw.
practically no
Did you
useful
see
information.
on
Most
Twitter?
of the data
Not
you
Twitter.
receive
I'm
about
sorry. I
the
was on
star
Blue
systems,
Sky.
like the type of star, is never
Kroger has
explained,
a new
so it's
sushi made
useless.
with
I
flamin'
couldn't
hot
believe that
Cheetos.
skimpy little book was the entire manual. It tells you nothing.
Why?
The funny thing is, the 386-page strategy book doesn't tell you much more.
Yeah, I can see a lot of humor in that.
Once the probes are launched, you must decide what equipment to take with you. Since at this point you hardly have a clue where you're going to, it's hard to make an informed choice regarding what to pack. The inability to unload any of the preset components didn't do much for my enjoyment of this part of the game.
I can't
Sushi
really
made
call
with
this
hot
phase
Cheetos
a
is a
game.
big thing
the game
now?
doesn't start until you get to your target planet. This preliminary
Where have I
foolishness sounded a
been?
lot more interactive
Well,
in
I
the
can't-
pre-release hype. When you
I
stop
just-
at Saturn to refuel, you receive data from your
This
4
is what
probes.
happens when I stop
Not
paying
much,
attention
though.
to
If you're
food.
confused, you can ask the artificial intelligence of the game which system to go to. Usually the AI will recommend a system you haven't sent a probe to. Thanks for the useless advice.
You were right about the preliminary stuff. Yes, it sets up the game, but they could have made it fun to play. When you arrive at the system you selected, you pick a planet to colonize and launch any orbital satellites you thought to bring with you. This is one of many points in the game where you'll be treated to cutscenes of the various satellites, ships, and robots in the game. These scenes are nothing short of dazzling, beautifully rendered in 3D Studio. Impressive, aren't they?
The animations are awesome. Put some Strauss behind them and you've got 2001 for your PC. On a fast PC with a speedy video cards, these scenes are just beautiful. Once you decide on a planet to call home, you must pick a landing site. Those red dots are potential mining sites, which you'll need if you want to do radical things like build stuff.
Building is good, especially in a game like this. But as important as the mineral resources are, you'll also have to consider the terrain you'll be settling near. For some reason, building on impossible terrain doesn't work too well.
Found that out the hard way, didn't you?
Hey, I wasn't the one saying, "Why can't I colonize a gas giant?"
When your seed factory lands, the game
Yeah,
really
why
starts.
can't you
The seed factory generates
I'm
4
gonna
structures
colonize a gas
automatically,
giant,
a very limited
and
power
I'm gonna
facility,
take
a
the
smelter,
gas.
a factory, and your command center, which is where you'll get
I'm
most
gonna
of
be
your
a
reports
billionaire
from.
stealing
the seed
all the
factory
gas
also
from the gas
supplies you with 3
planet.
robots, a miner, a dozer, and a digger. Tell them what they win, Bob.
Well, the miner's use is obvious, and you don't have to be a SimCity graduate to figure out what the dozer's for. Your first task of the digger is to create an air shaft and an elevator to an underground level where you'll place structures not suited for the harsh planetary surface. After a few turns, you'll be able to bring down a few pods full of colonists and cargo. This will give you the materials you need for your first few buildings and the people to construct them. The first things to be built are usually
Yeah, they're putting
an
hot
agricultural
Cheetos on
dome and a
everything
chat facility.
lately. I don't know
These
what's
give your
going
colonists
on.
air to breathe and food to eat.
People like that.
Building a power plant will likely be
I'm
your
not
next
super
step,
into
since
hot
the key
Cheetos,
power source the
but
seed
what
factory
the
provides
spicy
you with can
thing I
easily
like.
leave you in the dark.
Oh my
Not
god,
everything
hold
you
on.
took will come with you.
Hold on,
You'll
Chet, I
quickly
gotta
find
link it
out
to
that
you.
some of the colonists have defected and taken some supplies with them to form a rebel colony.
Clicking on your command center will pull up your executive report, which will give
Hold
you
on,
a
I'll
good,
find it for
concise overview of your situation. You'll get important figures like how much of your power supply you're using, whether your chap is producing enough air or not, and how much food you're producing and storing, and how your morale is doing. A click on your population figure will give you a more detailed description,
friggin' Serrano sea salt and vinegar. It's so good.
If you can keep your morale up, keep most of your
I
people
only buy it when
employed,
it's on
and stay
sale,
stocked
but it
with
goes away
resources,
so
you're
fast.
doing
It's
okay.
so
The
good.
executive report is
Oh my
informative and
God,
well
it's one of my
organized, but
favorite
in
chips of
general,
all
this game
time.
needs more reports.
We'll get to that later.
Hey, just trying to help out. One of the best things about
$33 for 6
technology.
bags. Just
When you
get
build
them at
labs, you assign
HEB.
them
Oh
to
my
general
God.
research or to a field of specialized research. The topics, which range from terraforming to nanotechnology to human behavior, are interrelated, so research in a number of fields will be needed to get results. Keep your
Yeah, the
scientists busy
avocado
enough
oil
and you'll
gives the
wind up with
chips a
improved
really nice
production, the
crunch.
ability to terraform the
And
planet's atmosphere,
also,
and
avocado
even the
oil is
option to
really
build
good for
another
you, so
starship
it's
and
really
pillage
nice.
another helpless planet.
The technology tree is great. There's a lot out there to discover. Civilization proved that the ability to discover new things to build is definitely a key selling point for a game like this. Like in most other sim games, one of Outpost's challenges is resource management. Here, Outpost adds a wonderful twist.
I never
It's
thought
called a spew,
about
a
just straight up
futuristic
putting
waste
vinegar and
recycling
salts
facility
on
which
regular
boosts morale
potatoes.
by
I love
its
salt
very
and vinegar
presence. Once a
chips
spew
are
has
my
been built,
favorite.
any
so.
structure you bulldoze will
Okay.
be converted
Getting
into
ideas now, things to do with my
multi-purpose goo,
potatoes.
or MPG. MPG can then be used to take the place
I
of
could just
any
drink
resource you are
vinegar. It's
lacking.
I like that.
It's
and it's hard
unfortunate,
to
but
abuse,
it's
too.
true.
If you go around bulldozing buildings just to get MPG, you're going to destroy stuff you need, so you can't cheat and make a massive stockpile of MPG. That's good.
Factories in Outpost come in two flavors, those that are above ground and those that are not. Factories on the planet's surface
I like
produce
the
robots,
below
while
ground
underground
flavor,
factories
thank
produce
you.
luxury goods like 8-track tapes, bowling shoes, and whoopee cushions.
Luxury items do a good job of keeping people happy, but to distribute them you'll need some commercial structures. That's techno-speak for general store. Apart from the items they produce, factories provide employment for your workers, which for some bizarre reason makes them happy. One unique addition to your underground levels is the Red Light District. Colonists need to have fun, and a Red Light District will boost your morale by 2 as well as give the birth rate a shot in the arm. They also increase the crime rate, and if the crime rate gets too high, your residential units will start spontaneously changing into red light districts.
It's too bad there's no way of seeing what your crime rate is before your residences
I like
go
to drink
porno.
pickle
A
juice.
crime and police
They actually
protection
sell
report
pickle
would
juice
have been a
shots
good
here in
idea.
Texas. Hold on, let me link to it here.
Once I had my colony started, I decided to examine some of the systems more closely, starting with the mines. Put simply, the mining system is victimized. In order for resources to be used, they must go from the mines to the smelter to be processed. There are two means of transport, by monorail or by automated trucks which run on roads you construct. I was shocked and a little more than confused to find that the monorail
Chat,
system
look at this
had been
pickle
left
juice
out
shot
of the
that I'm gonna
game,
link.
as had the roads. The trucks are there, for all the good they do. What the heck is going on here?
I called Sierra, the first of many, many times, and asked them about the absent transport system. Apparently, all transportation is automatic.
I'm beginning to sense a work in progress here.
How does this work? Yeah, Outpost will be finished 6 months after its release.
Wake up, Sierra.
Not to harp on one point, but let's talk about those wacky mines some more. Each planet has up to 4 underground levels that can be dug to. To increase the resources you get from a mine, you can dig it down to the next level. That's the good news. The stinky, rotten, evil, bad news is that as soon as the top layer of a mine is depleted, the entire mine ceases to produce.
Pickle juice,
Is it
extra
just
strength
me, or is
shot.
that ludicrous in the extreme?
And to make matters worse,
I
the
would
mine
just
keeps
down those
generating
shots if I
bogus
could.
reports. Clicking on a tapped-out mine shows its status is depleted, but its production is 15 resources per turn, which is the production level of a healthy mine.
Yeah, I would
Hello
love this
out
to be
there.
caffeinated.
Mr.
Imagine
Control, can you hear me?
Remember
caffeinated
that
pickle
rebel
juice.
colony? If you keep your morale high enough, those rebels will eventually defect to your colony, and you'll inherit their ghost town, which you can either reactivate or bulldoze and collect some MPG. Looking at their colony, I was dumbfounded. It was not built logically, correctly, or even possibly. In fact, if you had tried to build your colony like this, the computer wouldn't let you. Buildings have to be connected by tubes to allow air and colonists to pass between them.
Try telling that to the rebels. I even saw an underground level with no air shaft to get to it.
Sierra's response to this little inconsistency was, well, they play smarter on higher difficulty levels. To top it off, they hadn't built one mine. According to Sierra, it's set up so that the rebels don't have to mine. Now, I don't mean to nitpick, but isn't that, cheating?
Chat,
Just
I have
because they
something
don't need
disgusting to link
resources
to you in chat.
survive? Yeah, you're nitpicking. This is your AI. It's a helpful
I'm
little
sorry,
tool that
guys,
organizes
but
reports
I
for
need to
you,
show
flips
chat
headlines from
the
colony
giant
newspaper, and
pickle
warns you of
juice
incoming
jar.
natural disasters, which I've never encountered. That's about all it does, although it was supposed to do much
Y'all,
more.
check this
After
out.
climbing to a certain point on the research tree, you're supposed to be able to assign other AIs to parts of your colony to take some of the managerial load off your shoulders. You were even supposed to be able to put them to work helping scientists in the labs.
That would have been awesome.
Bruce Balfour must have thought so.
1
There's a whole
gallon of
chapter in
pickle
the strategy
juice.
book devoted to this. Unfortunately, it's just one of the many things that got left out of Outpost so Sierra could get it out the door this summer. But hey, they finished all the cutscenes, so at least they took care of the important stuff first.
Sierra should be ashamed of themselves for hacking this wonderful game to death. I don't know who made the decision to rush Outpost out the door before it was even close to being finished, but it's a good thing they don't play soccer for Columbia. At this point, I can't really recommend Outpost to anybody. Casual gamers wouldn't appreciate a game of its complexity and scope, and those who would appreciate it will quickly become annoyed past the point of tolerance by the many bugs and missing features. What this game needs is patch discs up the wazoo to make a finished product out of this crippled, should-have-been shareware release.
When I talked to them, nobody at Sierra was sure if they were going to put out patches for Outpost or not.
If they don't, the game's as good as dead.
If Sierra finishes what they started, Outpost...
Thank you, Hot Laffy, for the raid. I appreciate it. Welcome, welcome.
Garbage, and you should stay away from it.
We're finishing off Interactive Entertainment Issue 4.
First there was Vaporware, then there was Shovelware, now there's Doorware. That's software that's so late and so far over budget that the company boots it out the door incomplete just to bring in some badly needed bugs. History in the making, folks.
All right, let's check out the pros and the cons. Pros.
The graphics, from the tiles of your colony to the animated cutscenes, are absolutely beautiful. Outpost is an addictive, challenging simulation with lots to see and even more to do. Technological advances from labs add incentive to play long games.
And the cons?
The player needs more information, like a crime report, to manage the colony well. The enclosed manual is extremely poor, lacking any real information on how to play the game. Most of the info the manual does have is useless and will serve only to confuse players, since many of the game's features were removed after the manual was printed. Hordes of features and occasionally entire systems have been ripped from this game with all the subtlety of a chainsaw. Bugs plague the parts of the game that made it this far. Outpost is not a finished product.
All right, so
for the few of you who don't yet know the premise of Outpost.
Let's go back to the beginning. So yeah, what should we also try? SimCity 2000, Civilization, and Alien Legacy, all games I would much rather play than this. Last but not least, Surf City. Then we're done with this issue. Let's go.
I learned to like Surf City Life is Feudal from SSI, but I had to work at it. Now, I know you're thinking that anyone who has to labor at playing a game should probably find another job, but I think the problems I had with the game aren't entirely of my own doing.
Well, you're one of the electronically challenged, so I've seen you labor at entertainment pretty hard before. But you're right, even a real gamer needs a little intestinal fortitude to play Surf City. But it does grow on you.
Before I start some serious whining, I want to make one thing perfectly clear. This is an entertaining game to play. At heart, Surf City is a management game with some strategical elements thrown in to cater to those of us who prefer to kill our opponents instead of financially ruining them.
I like to kill things. Killing is groovy cool. Thank you for shopping at Death Mart. Have a nice day.
Uh-huh. Case in point. Anyway, as you build up
All
your
right.
empire, your
No
serfs
worries,
scurry
man.
around the land doing your bidding. They're a versatile bunch, since they're capable of transporting materials, building anything from a fisherman's hut to a gold mine, and attacking your enemies.
They look an awful lot like lemmings, don't they? Unfortunately, just like lemmings, they're so small, I have trouble telling them apart. But after a while, I got used to the squint factor.
You can't just build at will, since you begin the game with a limited number of resources. This forces you to make sound management decisions, since you must produce your own strategic materials before you can set your sights on conquering the empires that spring up around you.
I thought the resource management was handled well. You have enough resources to get started with, but you can't rush right out and say, okay, I'm going to build one of everything. Part of the fun is that anticipation, the waiting for new buildings to become available to you.
The problems I had when I started to play this game all came in the area of the management menus. For some bizarre reason, the designers decided not to label anything. This means you have to spend entirely too much time squinting at the manual, wondering whether or not the surf you're looking at is the one that you're looking for.
Squinting at the surfs didn't bother me too much, but they could have at least labeled the buildings. When you pull up the build menu, you're confronted by a bunch of anonymous structures, many of which look very similar to each other. The manual labels them all, but with blurry black and white pictures. If they didn't want the building names in the program itself, they could at least have enclosed color reference cards with high-res photos to help us out.
In order to succeed at this, you have to make a fairly steady series of changes in allocating your resources as the game progresses. I'm glad that Blue Byte, the game's designers, are proud of their graphics. I have to confess I would have enjoyed them a lot more if they had clearly identified them. Everything's labeled in the manual, so I'm assuming they felt it wasn't necessary in the game's interface. They were wrong.
They are
and
wrong.
It's slow. This is realistic, but it can be aggravating. One of the tutorials took over an hour to complete. I spent 5 minutes building everything, and the rest of the time I just sat back and literally watched the grass grow. Okay, so it was wheat, but the point is the same. An option to accelerate time, like you find in a lot of flight sims, would have been a good idea.
I see no reason not to play Surf City. The scampering surfs are fun to watch, the game's interface is fairly easy to manage, and the management portion makes a lot of sense. Just be sure and buy a magnifying glass to identify your surfs.
And you'd better tell your spouse not to wait up for you. They're tiny, they're slow, but they're still a lot of fun. It's not a quick fix game, and you can't play it in an hour or usually even 2 or 3. But if you have some spare time and maybe some
sorry, sir.
ibuprofen, you should enjoy Surf City. It's not a major gaming revolution, but it's extremely entertaining. And isn't that what games are for?
I learned to
All right, so the pros?
There's something deeply satisfying about watching Surf City. Watching the surfs scurry around vaguely reminds me of Lemmings, except for the fact that you couldn't blow them up if you wanted to.
Okay, so you can't blow up the villagers. That's a negative.
The management menus need words, not just graphics. You spend a lot of time making decisions in these menus, and the decision not to label these things forces you to spend a lot of time looking at the manual.
Okay, those are...
Well, you're one of...
What should we also try? SimCity 2000, always. Ultimate Domain and Powermonger, a game I've never heard of. Chad, is that good? Let's go back to the main menu. I think that's it. We are done. Let's actually see what games they have to install
here. This section will install game demos to your hard drive.
No, thank you for either of these, but good to know. No ads this time. Yeah, okay, that was nice. And what patches we got?
All patches and upgrades are supplied
None!
as is without warranty of any kind, either expressed or implied. The entire risk as to the result of any performance of any program is assumed by you.
Okay, all right, we did it. We went through this. Wait, options? Oh man, I got excited. I thought that maybe they had like, I don't know, subtitles. Okay, let's go. That was great. Thank you all so much for going through Interactive Entertainment 04 with me. Finish this off here. Shut this computer down. Goodbye, Xena. And I'm going to go to intermission, and when we come back, I've got 2 VHS tapes for you, so get excited. Yeah, it just kind of goes. All right, I will be back in about 10 minutes or so. Yeah, sounds good. All right, see you soon.
Command 3.75 summation 3,3. Display 3.75. Recall 1,300. Display 6.00. Remarks number of elements n. Function repeat 1,1. Display 6.00. Remarks kernels number of elements n. Function min of x 5,1. Display 3.50. Remarks mean of x. Command function standard deviation of the sample x 5,2. Display 0.85. Remarks standard deviation of the sample x. Command function standard deviation of the population x 5,3. Display 0.78. Remark standard deviation of the population x. Two-dimensional statistics. Entering data 2 dimensions. 2 keys are used to register pairs of data points. They are first value, position 3,2, and summation, position 3,2. The general method of entering pairs of data points is as follows. enter X value, first value, position 3, 2, and enter Y value, summation, position 3, 3. When the second portion of a data pair, the Y value, is identical to the previous Y value, you can omit its entry. Example, enter the X value and press directly on the summation, position 3, 3. The calculator will then use the Y value of the previous pair and will instantly apply it to the Y value of this new pair. Correcting data, 2 dimensions. When an error occurs and you have to make corrections to a pair of data points, you must remove both values of the pair of data points. Example, command 2, 5, first value, position 3, 2, display 25.00, remark, erroneous data, continues and enters Y. Command 5.3, summation, position 3, 3, display 53.00, remark, completes the entry in progress. Command 2.5, first value, position 3, 2, display 25, remarks, re-enters data X to be removed. Command 5.3, summation, position 3, 3, display 53.00, remarks, re-enters data Y to be removed. Command minus, position 5, 4, display 53, remarks, removes pairs of data points and readjusts numbers of element n. Note that this correction can be made anytime while entering data. Statistical functions, 2 dimensions. The following sections show various two-dimensional statistical computations available with the AudioCalc calculator. Function mean of x, position 5, 1. Function mean of y, position 6, 1. Function standard deviation of the sample x, position 5, 2. Function standard deviation of the population x, position 5, 3. Function standard deviation of the sample y, position 6, 2. Function standard deviation of the population y, position 6, 3. Function intercept of regression line, position 7, 3. Function slope of regression line, position 7, 2. Function correlation coefficient, position 7, 1. Example, 2 dimensions. The following example shows the use of two-dimensional statistical functions. Calculate the various statistics for the following pairs of values. X value 65, Y value 68. X 67, Y 68. X 70, Y 68. X 63, Y 66. X 62, Y 66. X 64, Y 65. X 68, Y 69. Command function CRO 2, 4, display 0.00, remark, preparing to start statistical calculation. Command 6, 5, first value 3, 2, display 65.00, remark, beginning of entering values. Command 6, 8, summation 3, 3, display 68.00. Command 6, 7, summation 3, 3, display 67, remark, as the same Y than the previous pair. Command 7, 0, summation 3, 3, display 70.00, remark, the same. Command 6, 3. First value 3,2. Display 63. Command 6, 6. Summation 3,3. Display 66.00. Command 6, 2. Summation 3,3. Display 62.00. Remarks as same wide than the previous pair. Command 6, 4. First value 3,2. Display 64.00. Command 6, 5. Summation 3,3. Display 65.00. Command 6, 8. First value 3,2. Display 68.00. Command 6, 9. Summation 3,3. Display 69.00. Command recall 1,3, 0, 0. Display 7.00. Remark number of elements n. Function repeat 1,1. Display 7.00. Remark pronounce number of elements n. Command function min of x 5,1. Display 65 and 65.
Hi, I'm back. That was the audio instructional manual for Audio Calculator and the 1988 cassette tape Rainforest, Actual Sounds of Nature, all combined. I just want to say I didn't get the name of the person, and I apologize, I need to look it up. But I got my idea to mix nature sounds with other stuff from Reddit. There was a Twitch streamer on Reddit who's like, for intermission, I just play nature sounds because, that's not copyright. And I'm like, oh my God, genius. So I just want to say someone mentioned that nature sounds, were when it gets you in trouble with the Twitch cops. And I've been trying to experiment with it because it's really interesting. And I like relaxed mixes, but I also like things that are very strange. So I'm kind of experimenting to see what I can combine with nature sounds and etc. So that's a hot tip for all you Twitch streamers. If you want to play something that's not going to get copyright struck, try nature sounds. Just try it. All right, next up, we got VHS tapes. Folks, we're starting off with, we got a brand new microwave from Panasonic, and they gave us a VHS tape with it to teach us how to use this microwave. So, folks, it's time for microwave cooking with Panasonic.
Even more than you expected.
Yeah, don't microwave your Pop-Tart with in the wrapper in a microwave. You can't make that in a microwave. Shut up. You can't make that in a microwave. It's got... See, no. You can't make roast potatoes in a microwave. You lie. Lie. This is cookies. Cookies. Lies. All lies. No, you can't make bread in a microwave. Stop it. Stop it.
Hello, and welcome to a whole new concept of cooking with your Panasonic microwave oven. Microwave ovens not only save you time and conserve electrical energy, but they retain 90% of the nutritional value of the food you cook. This video will show you how to get the most from your microwave oven, as well as some delicious recipes. All of the information we'll present here is fully explained in your cookbook. The counter in the corner of the screen will help you locate the various sections of the video, just like an index. The sections are general information, handy hints, basic operation, genius sensor cooking, recipes. Microwaves are a safe form of energy, very much like radio and TV waves. Because they're non-ionizing, they can't be stored in your body. When the microwave's turned off, the microwaves disappear, just like light rays from a bulb. The microwaves are absorbed by the food, causing the water molecules within the food to vibrate at ultra-high speed. They rub against one another and generate
microwaves
heat,
just make
just like
the
heat's produced when you rub your hands
freak
together.
out and get hot. It's so
It's
weird.
important to know which utensils can and can't be used in a microwave.
Yeah.
Some of the wide variety which are safe include glass, ceramics, china, Pyrex, and Corningware. Plastic dishes and cups should be used with care and usually only for short periods, especially when cooking in foods high in fats or sugars. Utensils with metallic rims or parts, delicate glassware, and mugs with glue-on handles should not be used. Also, be careful not to put in metal twist ties. Use string instead.
Metal twist
You can cover
ties?
most dishes with plastic wrapping, which helps retain the moisture. Always use a good quality wrap and don't cover the food too tightly. Aluminium foil is safe to use. In fact, it can prevent overcooking.
What?
Small pieces of foil can be used to cover chicken wings, tips of roast,
Hey!
or other thin parts
I don't know about
cook
that.
before the rest of the dish is finished.
What?
But when using foil, you must follow two basic rules. First, have more surface area of food exposed than metal. And second, never let metal touch metal, such as foil touching the oven walls. Paper toweling is also useful to absorb the excess fat or moisture and help stop spattering with foods such as sausages. But it should only be used for short cooking times.
Now,
if you're not sure whether a particular container is safe to use in a microwave oven, here's a simple test.
I
Fill
don't know
a
if I would do
microwave-safe
that
cup with
personally,
water
but
and
that's
put it in the
just me.
container to be tested. Pop both of them in your microwave oven and set it to cook on high for 1 minute. Now, if the container is cool to touch, then it's safe to use. If it's warm, it's not ideal for cooking, but safe for preheating or warming foods. And if it's hot, it means that it's definitely not safe for microwave cooking. But remember that this test can't be used for plastic containers. Before we move on to the operating features of your microwave oven, here are some handy hints. Foods with skins or membranes need to be pierced before cooking. This is because steam may build up under the skin, causing it to burst. Piercing, cutting, or removing the skin will allow that steam to escape during cooking.
Okay.
For example,
I
an egg
didn't know
needs to
that
be
Hot
pierced a few
Pocket
times
sleeve
with
does
a
have metal.
toothpick
Okay.
before cooking.
Now I know. Now I know.
Potatoes also need to be pierced a few times.
That's true.
So
I knew
do
about piercing the
tomatoes,
potatoes before you make them in the
sausages,
microwave.
and apples. With foods that require different cooking times, we need to place the thicker pieces on the outside and thinner pieces on the inside to ensure even cooking.
That
The
chicken's
reason
gonna
for
be
this is
so
that microwaves
bland.
penetrate
I'm
from the
sorry.
outside in, which means that the food on the outside of the dish cooks faster than the food on the inside.
I love her hair.
Foods such as
It is so
potatoes and
90s.
biscuits
I love her.
should be equally spaced in a circular pattern to ensure even cooking. If you increase the quantity of food, you must also increase your cooking time. As a general guide, if you double the quantity of food suggested in the recipe, add half the suggested cooking time again. So if 200 grams of vegetables need 2 minutes to cook,
Yeah, I've noticed
then
that there's
400
very little
grams would
seasoning
need
on
3
everything,
minutes.
and that was I remember
Cleaning
in the
your
90s
microwave
there
oven
not
is
being as much
easy.
seasoning
All
on
you have to
everything.
do
It
is
kinda
wipe it out
sucked.
with a damp cloth. The
I'm
food
big on
doesn't burn
seasoning.
or stick to
It's
the
like,
oven.
give me spices,
Now, if you want to
please.
freshen up your
Give me flavor.
microwave, particularly after cooking foods that may leave an odour, such as fish, this is what you do. Combine 1 cup of water with lime or lemon juice and leave in the peel. Put it in the microwave.
This I've heard about.
And just cook it on high for 2 or 3 minutes. Then just wipe out the oven with a damp cloth. It's important to remember not to operate the microwave oven when it's empty, Just make sure that there's food or liquid inside, otherwise it might be damaged.
Okay.
Now let's look at the features and operation of your microwave. First we need to set the clock. Simply press the clock pad and the colon will begin to blink. Pads 1 and 2 indicate the hours and pads 3 and 4 the minutes.
Every time
So to
I've
set the
cooked a
time
hot
to
dog in the
11:25,
microwave, it's
press
exploded.
the pads from
I
left to
don't know
right.
why. I just can't do it. It's wrong.
Now press the clock pad again and the clock is set. The micro pad
Yay.
enables you to select the amount of power you need. This is just the same as selecting the heat level on a stove. There are 5 power selections. Simply
Here's
press
the
the
hot
micro
dog,
power
huh?
pad and you'll see the selection in the
I
display
like when
window.
the ends explode and it becomes
High can
kind
be
of
used for
disgusting.
cooking many dishes, as
I
well as
think-
boiling water,
I think they should sell
reheating,
hot
and cooking
dogs
vegetables.
that explicitly get
Defrost
weird in
is
the
for thawing
microwave.
foods. Medium high is used for fish and chicken. Medium for cooking cakes, meats,
Call 'em
eggs,
explosion
and cheese dishes.
dogs.
Medium low is good for
Bomb
simmering
dogs.
casseroles,
No, don't-
pot
no,
roasts,
take it back.
soups and stews. And low is for keeping cooked foods warm and for very slow simmering. Remember, food continues to cook even after the microwave oven has switched itself off. So standing time refers to the time it takes after the microwave time is completed to allow the inside of the food to finish cooking. For example, a roast would need approximately 10 minutes standing time. Now to do this, press the time stand pad, then select the time required, say 10 minutes, and press start. The auto start lets you set the cooking time in advance, the same way you preset a video cassette
None of us
recorder
are
for
gonna
recording
cook,
things later on in the day.
hamster maniac
For this to
mansion
work,
style. I
the
think,
clock
I
has to
think
be
that
set.
that was illegal in Australia.
Let's say the
at
time is 12 noon. Enter your choice of program, say high for 10 minutes, press auto start and set the time of the day you want to start cooking, say 5 p.m, and then press start. Your meal will start cooking at 5 o'clock.
But why is it just sitting in
Defrosting
there? It's gonna
pad
be
allows you
disgusting.
to thaw frozen foods in a fraction of the time it would take at room temperature.
No!
Press
Don't
the
leave your
power
food
pad
in the
until
microwave
defrost
to be-
appears in the display window. Key in the time required, say 10
So do
minutes,
you just set your
and
raw
press
chicken in the
start.
microwave, set it in the morning, and set it to
The
cook
auto
at
weight
like 5?
defrost feature
gonna-
defrosts frozen meats, poultry or seafood by weight. So if you have a 1.3 kilogram
diarrhea.
frozen chicken, all you have to do is key in the weight of the chicken, 1.3 kilos, and press start. Your microwave oven has a 3-stage memory, which means that you can program 3 different cooking stages. For instance, for this casserole, I want to cook on high power for 5 minutes, medium-low for 10 minutes, and stand for 5 minutes. Press start and your microwave oven is now programmed to cook these 3 different cycles.
No, that...
Your Genius microwave oven will automatically calculate cooking
I'm a
times and
microwave
power levels
genius.
for you
That's my new,
when you're reheating or cooking
DJ
any
name,
of the food
microwave
categories set out on your microwave. The number of food categories you can cook automatically will depend on which model you have. But there are 2 things to remember when using the sensor. First, always completely cover your food with plastic wrap.
Okay.
And secondly, after you've placed the food in the oven, the door should not be opened until the countdown time appears in the display window. Once this happens, you can remove the plastic wrap and then stir, turn or rearrange the food if required. The sensor reheat pad in your Genius microwave oven
the microwave
lets you
things, there we
reheat
go, I'm a
pre-cooked
little-
food, which is at
I
either
remixed
fridge
the
or
audio a
room
little bit there.
temperature
I should be better
without
now.
having to select cooking times or power levels. The Genius oven does it all automatically. So, to reheat a dinner plate, simply cover the food with plastic wrap, place it in the oven, and then press the sensor reheat pad and start.
Sorry, I just saw the peas and I'm like,
Let's
I
look
want
at
to
the beef,
die.
lamb, pork pad.
I could never eat
In this
microwave
category,
peas.
you can cook beef, lamb, or pork either rare by pressing the pad once, medium by pressing twice, or well done by pressing the pad 3 times. So to cook, say, a piece of lamb, just cover the lamb with plastic wrap and put it in the microwave. If we want to cook medium, we should select medium by pressing the beef, lamb, pork key twice and then start. As for vegetables, you'll find your microwave oven is perfect for cooking them by sensor. The automatic vegetables program is divided into 2 categories.
Yum, yum, eating
When
lamb
you
from
press
the
the
microwave.
vegetable pad once, root vegetables will appear. This category is suitable for hard vegetables such as potatoes,
Are you going to put those
carrots, and
greens in?
pumpkin. Then just press start. If you press the vegetable pad again, vegetables will appear in the display window.
Veg.
This is suitable for softer vegetables
Oh
such
my
as peas,
God,
spinach,
disgusting.
tomatoes, mushrooms, corn, and broccoli.
The cauliflower
Again,
in the
just
microwave.
Press start.
Oh.
The
It's
chicken
good for
sensor
making
pad
things
is
hot,
suitable
is
for
the
stuffed
thing.
or unstuffed whole
it's just-
chickens, as well as chicken
It's
pieces.
just, I've
Cover the food with plastic wrap, then press the chicken pad and start.
a lot of microwave
To cook
cooking,
fish
like if you're
or
going
fish
from
fillets
raw to cooked,
automatically,
it just gets kind
simply
of funky.
place the fish in a shallow microwave-safe
I like to
dish
cook things
and
in a
cover
different
it
way
with
and then just
plastic
use the
wrap.
microwave to reheat
Place
stuff.
it
It's
in
really
the
good
oven,
for reheating.
Press the
Oh, and
fish
it's good for
pad
popcorn.
and then start. And finally, there's the rice pasta key, which is ideal for cooking white rice, quick cooking brown rice, or any variety of pasta. Place the covered rice in the microwave, press rice pasta, and then start. But do remember
made,
the
like,
setting
those
is not suitable
microwavable
for
mug
normal
cakes.
brown
Those
rice
are okay.
or wild rice. Now, with all these sensor cooking categories, you do have the option of adjusting the cooking time to suit your own personal tastes. For example, if you prefer your vegetables cooked a little longer, press the vegetable key and then more/less pad. A plus sign will appear indicating extra cooking time will be added on. Then press start. But if you prefer your vegetables less cooked, then press the more/less pad again and a minus sign will appear.
Ah.
Press start and the cooking time will be slightly reduced.
Here we go. We got the recipes. Here we fucking go.
All right, now we're ready to do some cooking. You'll find most of these recipes in your cookbook, so you can easily refer to them later on. And although we'll be giving you the times and power settings for each dish, if you do have a microwave oven with automatic features, why not let it do the work for you?
I love the music. Oh my god. Okay, that has seasoning. We got seasoning on this one.
To obtain the best results
New
for honey
outfit, new
sesame
hairstyle, let's
drumsticks,
go.
Marinate the chicken for at least 24 hours with a mixture of garlic, ginger, soy sauce, honey and sesame seeds and place it in the refrigerator. Now our ingredients have been marinating overnight, so we can now put the dish in the microwave and cook for about 20 minutes on medium-high.
Okay, so my problem with microwaves is like it's good, but a lot of the food tastes wet to me. I don't know how to describe it. It's just
When
very
ready,
wet.
the honey sesame drumsticks may be served hot or cold.
You can't do those root vegetables.
To cook roast lamb, place
Okay.
it fat side down on a rack in a dish and cook for 40 minutes on medium.
You could do that in an oven much easier for that amount of time.
Halfway through cooking, turn the lamb over and brush with apricot jam.
Oh, look at that.
After cooking, allow the meat to stand for 10 minutes before slicing.
Look at the skin on that. Cool.
For beef roll with spinach and shallot stuffing, first prepare the beef roll. Trim the steaks if necessary and score on one side. This will help in the rolling of the meat. The stuffing is made up of butter, garlic, spinach, shallots, breadcrumbs, salt and pepper, egg and almonds. This is spread onto the steaks and rolled up lengthwise. Secure the rolls with string and place them on a rack in a dish. Cook for 20 minutes on medium-high. Afterwards, allow it to stand for 10
I don't
minutes
know about this
before
one.
carving.
I want to eat these. I'm sorry. That doesn't look so bad, but what are those things in it? Cashews. Okay. Hey, what are sultanas?
Pilau
Chad,
is
what's
an
a
easily prepared
sultana?
dish and an interesting variation to boiled white rice. Cook the onion and butter on high for 2 minutes or until softened. Add rice and seasonings and cook for a further 2 minutes on high or until the rice is translucent. Pour over the boiling chicken stock and cook for 15 minutes on high. To serve, stir through the cashew nuts and sultanas.
Okay. Oh, I don't know about this. I just feel... I love veggies. I just feel they get so wet in the microwave when you cook them like that.
When cooking vegetables in the microwave,
I'm sorry. I don't know why I hate wet food. I like soup
and cooking
and I like
high.
gravies and sauces.
Now it's important
but
that salt
I
is not added till
damp
after
food.
cooking, as this dehydrates
You know that
the vegetables.
I think you can leave skit
to cook this
where
mixed
they do
vegetable
the
dish,
sloppy
place the
steaks.
prepared
That to me is one of the most
vegetables,
disgusting
carrots,
things I've
zucchini,
seen in
and
my
squash
life.
in a large dish. Cover and cook for 10 minutes on high.
Yeah, I hate sloppy steaks. The idea of pouring water, I hate the idea of pouring water on things. I don't know why. Oh my God. Okay, that doesn't look that wet. Don't know what caster sugar is, but I know the rest.
When baking cakes in the microwave, choose clear glass or plastic dishes wherever possible because they allow you to visually check the cooking progress. Grease the dish and line it with paper toweling or greaseproof paper so the cake can be easily removed. To make the mocha carrot cake, put into a dish self-raising flour, bicarbonate of soda, caster sugar, pineapple, carrot, pecan nuts, eggs and oil, and mix well.
Chat, you can have this one.
Melt the
I'm
chocolate
not gonna
on
eat
medium,
it. Sorry.
never high as it burns easily. And it's important that the chocolate is stirred during melting. Now add the chocolate to the cake mixture and mix it well.
Okay, so caster
Then place
sugar
the
is
mixture into the
between
prepared
regular
dish.
sugar and powdered sugar.
Cake
Okay,
should
so
be
it's just
cooked
like
on
smaller,
medium-high,
smaller
and
crystals.
it's better to
Okay.
slightly undercook rather than overcook, as this will keep it moist. Cooking time for this cake is about 7 minutes.
Yeah, I want to see a recipe that's like,
After cooking,
mix it like
allow the
shit.
cake to
Just
stand
don't
for
even
5 minutes
care.
before removing it from the dish. The icing is made by beating together the cream cheese, butter, icing sugar and lemon juice. Spread the icing when the cake's cold and then sprinkle with chopped pecan nuts. Well, we hope this video has given you a better understanding of the features and operation of your microwave oven. For more detailed explanations, please refer to your cookbook. So now you can start trying out some of your own favourite recipes or one of the many other delicious recipes in the cookbook. Thank you for buying Panasonic and happy cooking.
Even more than you expected.
That was microwave cooking with Panasonic. Pretty good, but I got a better one for you next. Last video of the night, we've got George Foreman's lean, mean, fat-reducing grilling machine video recipes. Folks, this is it. This is... Now, when it comes to gimmicky food preparation things, this thing had America in a chokehold. You have no idea. If you weren't an American during the time, or maybe it was international, I don't know. I just remember in America, this was everywhere. Everyone I know had one, and yeah, it was very popular.
Knock out the fat with the George Foreman lean, mean, fat-reducing grilling machine.
Hi, I'm Sherry Calbaum, known as the Healthy Gourmet. I'm a
the
nutritionist
Healthy
by
Gourmet.
profession and author of a number of cookbooks. I'm here to demonstrate the grilling machine because I just love this product. I've been using it almost every day in my test kitchen, and it is just a great machine that I know you're going to love using. I'm going to be demonstrating it, showing you how to clean it, and I'm going to be doing a lot of delicious recipes in it. These
things are great to grill chicken breasts on. If you just You defrosted the frozen chicken breasts, and then
Next,
you just
I'm
throw
going to
them
show
on.
you
It's
how
so
to
great.
use your grilling machine, and it is so easy. If you haven't already done this, take a wet sponge and just wipe down both plates of your grilling machine.
That's
then
a
next,
big
plug
sponge.
It in. You'll see the
That's
light
just
come on.
SpongeBob there.
When the light goes off, you'll be ready to grill. But in the meantime, while it's heating up, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the special features of your machine. First of all, you'll notice you have this special spatula that comes with your machine with grooves so that you can just push that ground meat right out of the grilling machine.
I don't remember
Be
the
sure
spatula.
to only use plastic or wood with your grilling machine. It has a special non-stick coating that you could scratch if you use like forks or metal spatulas. And this non-stick coating is very special. You don't have to use any fats with this machine. No sprays, no oils. Just put your food right on the plate, close the lid, and you're ready to grill. So now we're going to close this lid. And remember, too, whenever you open the lid, to use a pot holder so that you don't
I never
burn
did
yourself.
that. I should have done
And when
that.
the light goes off, we're ready to start grilling. So let's go.
Yeah, I always used a spray or something. George's Power Burger, okay.
The first recipe I'm going to do for you is George's Power Burger. George loves this, and you will
God,
too.
everyone I knew
I'm
had
going to
a
add
George
number of chopped
Foreman grill
vegetables
back in
to
the
our
day,
hamburger
like-
meat. I've got about a pound of hamburger meat here.
sure we
And
have
I'm
one
gonna tell
here.
You, the different vegetables that I'm using, but you can use any vegetables you want. I have red and green bell pepper, parsley that's chopped, chopped onion, chopped green onion, some chopped zucchini, and some chopped yellow squash. So I'm going to take just a little bit of each of these so that I can have a 1/4 cup of vegetables, and then I'm going to add it to the meat. And we're
I don't
going
know
to
why I
have a
stopped using
healthy
it. I ran out of
hamburger.
space,
And it's going
probably,
to
and
taste
also
great,
it's prob-
too.
I
You're
probably
going to
need to clean it.
discover that this makes your hamburger more juicy and better tasting yet. So now add your vegetables to the hamburger meat, and then take about a 1/4 cup of breadcrumbs and add that to your hamburger meat. And now comes the fun part. You need to get in here and just mix it all up. Have a good time. Get your fingers dirty. Like
Have a
I
good
am.
time. Get
And
nasty with
mix
the
it
George
very
Foreman
well
grill.
so that your vegetables and your breadcrumbs are completely mixed in with the hamburger meat. And then we're going to make this into hamburger patties and start grilling. And we're ready to go.
Yeah.
Now I've finished shaping this hamburger
Oh,
into patties.
I don't know if
and
I'd
we're ready
eat
to
these.
start
I do
grilling.
like veggie
So I'm going to
burgers.
open
I
the
really,
machine,
really do,
And I'm going to
but
place a couple of the patties
I don't know about
on the
this.
plate.
I don't know if the zucchini
Just
would
like
grill
this.
up in a... I just...
Don't you love the sound of that sizzle? Now close the lid.
Yeah, so if you didn't
It's
know,
going to take about 4 minutes.
the
and you're going
gimmick
to
of the
have
George Foreman
power
grill
burgers.
is that
Notice
it's
all the
slanted
fat that's
and the
dripping
fat
off
drips
the
off,
hamburger meat
so
and into the
it's
drip tray.
yeah,
Just
you have
think,
to use
all
the
that's
drip
going
tray
in
to
the
catch
drip
all the
tray
fat.
and not in your body. I want to show you the hamburgers that are cooking. Notice that it's grilling on both sides. Both plates are heated up, so you never have to flip your hamburger patties. And that's one of the other great features of the grilling machine. Our hamburger patties are almost ready. So now you can start preparing the
Later
hamburger
models drip to
buns,
the
and I
back? Are you
toasted
kidding
these
me?
buns actually on the grilling machine.
Oh my God,
Just take a
that's...
little mustard and spread on your buns. And I wanted to remind you that mustard is a much better choice than mayonnaise. Tablespoon per tablespoon, you're going to save about 11 grams of fat by going with mustard. So now we're ready
More
to take one of
convenient?
these
Okay.
hamburger patties off the grill.
I'm just fascinated because I just...
And put together our power burger.
Literally, I know there must be people who don't own one of
And
these,
you can
but
top your
everyone
power
had one.
burger
Like
with
everyone.
anything you want.
It's-
I've got lettuce, tomato, and onion.
I'm thinking of all the other seen on TV things, and this is the only one that I ever saw like everyone use. Oh, I did know someone who had a Thigh
one of George's
Master.
favorites, the lean mean steak fajitas. And to do that, we're going to put on these little feet. In case you're wondering what to do with these, here's how you add the feet to the grilling machine. You just lift it up and be sure that you do this, by the way, before you turn the machine on. So just add feet to the front, just like this.
Uh-huh.
And then you want to add the feet to the back of the machine.
Why are we doing this?
And then you can plug it in. And you'll notice that the grill has been raised up so that you can add your meat, your ground hamburger or your steak strips. You can do burritos in here. And raising your grilling machine makes it a lot easier to scoop that meat right off into your taco shells or into a bowl.
Okay.
Our machine is
I
ready,
guess.
and we're ready to start grilling our fajitas.
Yeah,
I'm going to
Goodwill.
start with the
If you
vegetables
want one of
because they take
these,
the
go
longest
to
cook.
Goodwill.
I'm going to start with
You
the bell
will
peppers.
be. It is.
And
They are awash.
you can use any
with
color bell
George
peppers you
Foreman
want. I've got
grills.
green and red bell pepper strips and thinly sliced onion. So I'm going to add these to the grilling machine. You just lift the lid now, and remember to use your pot holder. And one exception is with vegetables. You want to brush the plate with a little bit of oil. I'm using canola oil. And then you'll add your vegetables. And I'm going to take just a few green pepper strips and put on the hot plate here. And then a few red bell pepper strips. Remember that bell pepper takes the longest to cook, so you want to start with those. This makes a very pretty dish.
They're sliding.
And we'll
Watch
add some
out.
onion. And then we'll be adding the beef strips later.
I never
because
did
they only take
veggies
about
on
a
the
minute and
grill.
a
I
half
only
to
used
cook.
meat, like
So
chicken
now
breasts
just
and
close
stuff.
your lid and wait about 4 minutes, and your vegetables will be ready. Now, as our vegetables are just about finished cooking, we're going to add our steak strips. And our steak has been marinating in a little marinade sauce that has some Worcestershire, and I'll just pour a little over the top here. Worcestershire, lime juice, a little lemon zest, and a little canola oil, and a number of spices. And
A number of spices. Don't worry about it.
And so we're going to lift the lid now, and we're going to take our steak strips, and move our vegetables up to the top. And then we'll add our steak strips. And these cook very quickly. They only take about a minute and a half. So you can just lay those steak strips right there on the grill and hear that sizzle. Doesn't that sound great? It's going to be a fast dinner. Set your timer, because in a minute and a half, you're going to have lean, mean steak fajitas. Our fajitas are ready. So here's what you do. With your pot holder, just open the lid. Those look great. Just slide your drip
looks
tray
okay.
over to the side. Grab a plate.
Meat looks a little gray,
And
but
you're
that's,
just going to
you know.
slide your steak strips right down into the center of that plate. And then just slide this to the side.
The
grab
onions
another
look really
plate.
good, though. I'd eat those onions.
You're going to slide your vegetables down into the center of this plate. Just like that.
Man, I should use this
So
to grill
easy
veggies.
and so fast. And you're done. Now we're ready to start assembling our fajitas.
Yeah, the
And it's so
Ronco
simple.
rotisserie.
Just take a
Oh,
flour
my
tortilla,
God.
and you want to add a couple of steak strips to the center, and then some of your sautéed vegetables, or grilled vegetables actually, done in the grilling machine. And then we're going to add some of the toppings, and we've got a nice variety here. You can actually add anything you'd like. I've got some grated cheese and chopped cilantro. We've got salsa, guacamole, and reduced fat sour cream. I'm going to take just a little bit of cheese and add to the top here, and then some cilantro on top of that.
God, this is so
And then I'm going to
90s.
add just a little bit of salsa. And we're ready to eat it.
Knock the fat out tacos. Okay. So far I'm not super sure on this,
Next,
but I
we're
would
going to
definitely eat
do
this food more
George's
than the
knock out the fat
Panasonic
tacos.
microwave food.
So just take a little taco seasoning, sprinkle it over your ground meat. I'm using ground turkey, which is lower in fat than ground beef. You can also use ground chicken, which is lower in fat too. Now just take your fingers like we did earlier and just mix this up. And we're ready to start grilling our taco meat. So just take your ground turkey, add it to the grill, and then you want to take your spatula and just kind of break it up a little bit. And then you're going to lower the lid and cook this for about 3 minutes. And there's no need to turn anything. You can lift the lid, though, and break it up a little more if you want to as it's cooking. But about 3 minutes, and your ground meat is going to be ready, and you can start filling your taco shells.
Seraphis Kane, I know the
So we're
infomercial
ready
you're
to start
talking
building a
about.
taco.
It's for the
Just
Magic
lift the
Bullet,
lid,
and I am genuinely thinking
once
about
you
showing
pull
it on
the
a future
tray out of the
stream.
way,
I love the Magic
get a
Bullet
taco shell
infomercial.
and
It's
put it
so
right
good. It's
under
like
your
no
grilling
infomercial like
and
it.
then
It's one of the
scoop some of
best.
the,
I don't.
Ground meat
I
right
would.
down
It's
into your taco
it is the
shell.
platonic ideal of
Now
of
you're
an
ready to start
infomercial.
building your
Just
taco.
bizarre and
we have
wonderful.
all sorts of great toppings, from chopped green onions and shredded lettuce and grated cheese and reduced fat sour cream, guacamole, chopped cilantro, salsa, chopped tomato, and chopped bell pepper. I'm going to choose some green onion and a little chopped cilantro and some grated cheese. Next, a little chopped tomato. How about a little bell pepper? And on top.
Some of you haven't seen the Magic Bullet commercial?
shredded
Okay. All right. Next stream.
And there you have. George's
Okay, I know what
knockout
I'm
the fat
showing.
taco.
Yes. Hot dogs are good on a George Foreman. They don't
If
explode.
you have children, I know someday one is going to say to you, I want a hot dog, and the other one's going to say, I want a grilled cheese sandwich. Well, it's no problem in the lean, mean, fat-reducing grilling machine. So easy. It takes about 2 to 4 minutes, depending on the size of your hot dog, and only 1 minute for your grilled cheese sandwich. So let's get started and put together a grilled cheese sandwich first. Just take a slice of bread. You don't have to butter it. You don't have to put any oil on it. Just put a slice of cheese on, put a slice of bread on top, open your grilling machine.
Not a
Place
negative,
that
but
right
this is a
there
very
in the
depressing
center.
grilled cheese, and I respect that. This
Close
is a
the
grilled
lid,
cheese you would
and
make when
1
you've had
minute,
the worst day
you've
of your
got
life.
a
I
great grilled
love
cheese
that.
Sandwich. Just open the top of your grilling machine. Look at that. Isn't it great?
Yeah, they don't mention how much of a pain in
Some
the
little
ass it
person in
is
your
to
house
pull
is
the
going
cheese
to
off of the
love
grill.
the grilled cheese sandwich.
Here's some carrot sticks, kids.
Let's do
Eat some
hot
carrots,
dogs.
kids.
Just lift the lid of your grilling machine and add your hot dog.
Those hot dogs are juicy. What the hell? It's like sausage.
Our hot dogs are ready, so just
Bonk.
open the grill, get a hot dog bun, and we're going to dish up a hot dog. These look good enough to eat. Look at that. Doesn't that look great? Now I'm going to get a little mustard.
Big ass hot, yeah, there's sausages. It's just a sausage.
Lunch is ready.
I guess you could do chicken parm.
I'm going to do 2 chicken recipes for you right now at the same time. I'm going to do chicken parmesan and grilled chicken strips over Caesar salad. They're both so easy and so fast. I decided to do them together.
Okay.
Now, first what you do is to lift the lid on your grilling machine and put your marinated chicken breasts on the hot grill. Our chicken breasts have been marinating in a mustard lemon juice marinade. Now close the grill on this. It takes just a little over 2 minutes for your chicken breasts. Now I'm going to start with the second machine and add my chicken strips. They're also marinating in the same marinade sauce. I'm going to add the chicken strips on here.
Okay.
These grill so fast that in about a minute and a half to a minute and 50 seconds, these strips are going to be ready. Our chicken breasts are almost done. And here's what I want you to do. Lift the lid and add a tomato slice to each chicken breast. It only takes 5 seconds to cook these, so just put the lid down and count to 5.
It's
And
been
you're
more than
ready
5.
to put on
It's been more than
Parmesan
5.
cheese.
Lady,
They grill very,
hurry,
very
hurry,
quickly.
hurry.
Okay, add a little Parmesan.
Okay, I don't like this version of
the
chicken
top.
parmesan. I got to be real with you.
Each tomato. Let that sit there for just a few seconds. For the last few seconds to melt this Parmesan cheese, you just want to close the lid.
That's going to stick
and
right
count
to
about
the top
2 or
of the
3.
grill.
It's going to melt so fast. Look at this. Is that beautiful? And it doesn't even stick to the top.
No.
So now just
The
take
thing
your
is, this looks
spatula,
fine to eat, but it's not
get your
chicken
plate,
parmesan. It's
And the chicken Parmesan is ready.
It's something
This
else.
is dinner in less than 3 minutes. Our chicken strips are ready, and it's been just under 2 minutes. So lift the lid.
There we
Those
go.
look great. Good enough to eat. Well, just take your Caesar salad and take about 3 chicken strips. Add to the top of each Caesar salad. And you know, with the preparation of your salad and the chicken strips, you've got dinner ready in about 5 or 6 minutes.
I guess this is fine. This looks fine.
Melt in your mouth tender is the only way to describe our ginger lime swordfish. It's been marinating for 3 to 4 hours in our special marinade sauce, and we're going to grill it now, and it's going to grill in about 2 minutes. So just lift the lid, take your swordfish, and put it on the hot grill. Oh, listen to that sizzle. Does this look great? In 2 minutes, dinner is going to be ready. Okay, now close the lid. Set your timer for 2 minutes. Our fish is ready. Just lift the lid. Doesn't that look great? Well, just grab your spatula and get your plate.
Pretty thick fish.
And serve up your swordfish.
Zesty shrimp kebabs. How zesty? What do you think they got?
Now I'm going to make one of my favorite recipes, zesty citrus thyme marinated shrimp kebabs, and they are wonderful. I'm using a marinade made of juice of 1 orange, raspberry vinegar, olive oil, thyme, garlic, and orange zest with a little freshly ground black pepper. I'm going to take a little marinade and brush over these shrimp kebabs to start off with. You know, you can put anything on these bamboo skewers. You can use cherry tomatoes, as I've done here, with some fresh zucchini and orange slices, but anything will do that you would like to use. Now, just open the grill, take your shrimp kebab.
Okay. Is that an orange?
These on your hot grill. Close the lid. 1 minute
I
and
object.
10 seconds.
I object.
And these are going to be ready. And look at this.
Yeah, shrimp are gray
Do
before
those
you
look
cook them.
great? They're
Orange,
beautiful,
huh?
aren't they? Okay, I've got a bed of linguine all ready for our shrimp kebab. So just take your spatula.
I guess.
Remove them. Add them to the
I
top
wouldn't
of
eat.
the
I don't know about the grilled orange. I'm
Are
sorry.
you ready for dinner? Is that beautiful? Just a few minutes and
Not
you've
so
got dinner
bad.
on the table.
George's ranch style breakfast. Yeehaw!
Now I'm going to make George's ranch style breakfast. So simple. Just lift
So
the
simple.
lid and I'm going to add some cheese hash browns to our grilling machine. And these take about 4 minutes to cook, so I'm going to add them first. Close the lid, give it a couple of minutes, and then we'll add our sausage. Just take your link sausage and put several of them on the grill.
Again, as you can see, the issue is that things slide off of the George
close the
Foreman grill.
top.
They just slide on
Give those
down.
sausages a couple of minutes and breakfast will be ready.
I don't think George came up with the
Look at
recipes.
that.
I'm
Does that
sorry.
look great? Just take your plate and we're going to put the sausages on our plate first. These are pork sausages. I want to remind you when you're cooking pork to make sure that you give it enough time so it's completely done. And wow, look at our hash browns. Cheese hash browns. Well, there's our champ's breakfast. I hope you've enjoyed watching
Look at that
our
spread.
lean, mean, fat-reducing grilling machine recipe video guide. I know I sure enjoyed making the recipes for you. So you and your family now can get started making some of these tender, juicy, flavorful, delicious recipes for yourselves. So have fun. Enjoy.
$19.95. And that was a selection of 2 VHS tapes that you would have gotten if you purchased a microwave or if you purchased the lean, mean, fat-reducing grilling machine. So not so bad, not so bad. Yeah, thank you all so very much for watching. We got to finish up we finished up Interactive Entertainment 04, I forgot. And we watched the videos, and let's see, next week, I am not going to stream on my channel because I am going out of town to go visit a doctor, so I'm going to be very busy next week. But the week after that, on, let's see what date that would be the 8th, I'm going to be streaming Secret Paths to the Sea, which is the sequel to Secret Paths in the Forest. And then the week after that, my friends, I will be streaming a showcase featuring Amtrak, because guess what? I'm taking Amtrak this week, so I'm really excited. I finally get to ride a train. So I'm going to be showing off Amtrak videos, showing off an Amtrak multimedia game, if you can believe it, and showing off photos from my trip if I take any. So, yeah, next 2 streams that I'll be doing are going to be on the 8th and the 15th, unless it changes and I have to do them on Thursdays, but more than likely it's going to be the 8th and the 15th that I do those. I'm streaming with my spouse at Retro Pals. You can follow. Let me drop the link in the chat. Shout out at Retro Pals. I stream there every Wednesday, most Fridays, and some Mondays with my spouse. So do check it out if you'd like to see more of me. And I have a website. I'm working on it. It's not ready, but I'm going to show it to you now. It's NeoCities. You can go there, and I'm going to be putting up my stream schedule there as well. Soon. I actually have it's almost there. I've been working on it. It's just, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. So yeah, just follow me there, and I'll have a little section that mentions what my streams are going to be. And yeah, all right. Thank you all so very much for watching. Let me find someone to raid. Who's streaming? Who is streaming? Let's see what we got here. Let's see. How about you got Ultra Pancake streaming something. Let's go follow it, Ultra Pancake here and raid them.
Bingo! Pasta with all sorts of different sauces.
And it's Alan Wake. Yeah. Let's watch Ultra Pancake stream Alan Wake. They are a squirrel. It's very cool. Let's go. All right, folks, thank you all so very much for watching, and I will see y'all in 2 weeks. Bye.